When you think of hero, you probably don't think of the same thing I think of. Because I think of a movie and game reviewer when I think of a fucking hero. Because that is one of the bravest things you can do on the internet, is giving your opinion of a movie or game and review it. Like, that is a recipe for disaster, because no matter what you do, you lose. If you give a review that's less than perfect, the people that love that product are gonna fuck you in the ass. They're gonna spread your asshole real wide. If you say you like something that other people didn't like, your asshole's getting blasted again by that crowd. Because people are professional fans of products and full-time warriors going to battle for the things that they liked or things they didn't like, attacking people that liked things that they didn't. So no matter what you do, your asshole's getting dilated. That being said, I am constantly blown away by some of the dog shit movie and game reviews that I see pop up. Now again, I understand that movie and game reviewers get more shit than a gas station toilet, but god damn it, sometimes these reviews just hurt to read and are just genuinely insulting to people that are literate. It's absolute trash. Today, Kotaku, one of the biggest culprits of the worst journalism on the internet, released yet another hugely dogshit diarrhea diaper of an article, this one about the PlayStation 5. Now, the whole review itself isn't the worst thing I've ever read in my life, but there's one part in particular of the review that is the worst thing I've ever read in my life. It makes my immortal fan fiction look incredible in comparison. It's just, I'll show you. So in the middle of their PlayStation 5 review, the reviewer goes on to say, "But I'd be remiss to ignore all the reasons not to be excited for the PlayStation 5. The world is still reeling under the weight of the COVID-19 pandemic. There are more Americans out of work right now than at any point in the country's history, with no relief in sight. Our healthcare system is an inherently evil institution that forces people to ration life-saving medication like insulin and choose suicide over suffering with untreated mental illness." What the fuck does any of this have to do with anything regarding the PlayStation 5? Were they expecting readers just to get to this point and be like, wow, you know, I was really excited for the PlayStation 5 until this asshole reminded me there's bad things in the world. Now I don't want a PlayStation 5. They continue. "As I'm writing this, it looks very likely that Joe Biden will be our next president, but it's clear that the worst people aren't going away just because a new old white man is sitting behind the resolute desk. Well, at least not this old white man. Our government is fundamentally broken in a way that necessitates radical change rather than incremental electoralism." Right, this is all the stuff I wanted to be reading about when it came to getting information about how the PlayStation 5 is. This is exactly what I was hoping for, so great work here, Kotaku. "The harsh truth is that, for the reasons listed above and more, a lot of people simply won't be able to buy a PlayStation 5, regardless of supply, or, if they can, concerns over increasing austerity in the United States and growing threat of widespread political violence supersede any enthusiasm about a console's SSD or how ray tracing makes reflections more realistic. That's not to say you can't be excited for those things. I certainly am, on some level. But there's an irrefutable level of privilege attached to the ability to simply tune out the world as it burns around you." This is basically like going into a restaurant and reminding everyone that there's people starving in the world, and then getting a seat at that restaurant. This genuinely gives me no hope for the future of games journalism, and I actually think it should be a crime to even be a games journalist past this review. It is so bad. Kotaku is like a septic tank. You know exactly what you're getting when you look inside of it, but you're still constantly disgusted. This is like the millionth awful article they've made. Anyone remember like a year or two ago when the Joker DLC for Smash Bros. Came out and Kotaku made that article calling into question Nintendo's ethics because they thought they heard the word retarded in the background music? They just misheard a lyric and started throwing shit at Nintendo for their inability to listen. You remember that? Who is still reading this garbage? I don't get it. 50 Shades of Grey has better writing than Kotaku. This is just so awful and weird. So the thing here is, don't be excited about PlayStation 5 because there's bad things going on in the world. Well, for a lot of people, a console like the PlayStation 5 is a form of escapism. And those things that this guy lists here are things they want to escape from. That's a good thing. For just a little while, just enjoy yourself. Turn yourself off from all the terrible things going on in the world. And he makes it seem like it's a bad thing. Not everyone needs to be 100% miserable all the time like this guy, who then in the next paragraph goes on to talk about how he spends hours lying awake at night in his bed, scrolling through terrible news just to stay mad. Not everyone wants to do that. This is a reason to be excited. There's bad things in the world, yes, and now there's the PlayStation 5 where, for maybe an hour or two a day, you can just enjoy yourself and just kind of push that aside for at least a little while and have some fun, which I think is important. Games journalism is so fucking weird these days. You have reviewers that can't separate reality from fiction, where they're talking about how they're afraid players are going to go on a real world murderous rampage because they ran over 3 fire hydrants in Grand Theft Auto 5. And you'll have other game reviewers talking about how they're now suffering from PTSD because they watched Crash Bandicoot die once during their Crash 4 playthrough. Then you'll read a review from Polygon on Cuphead talking about how the reviewer can no longer sleep at night because they're just playing through these flashbacks of all the cartoon characters they killed on their journey to the end screen of Cuphead and give it a bad score for it. It's so weird. There's so many reviewers that can't separate reality from fiction, video games from the real world. And then on the other end of that spectrum, there's people like this guy who are so hyper-indulged in reality that they will not allow themselves to enjoy anything. Until the world is a complete utopia with no problems at all and free ice cream delivered to the Kotaku offices every Tuesday, this guy will not focus on anything besides the bad shit in the world. He feels guilty if he starts to enjoy something because of everything bad going on in the world. That's how it comes across. He can't even, for one review, focus on what was actually being reviewed, the PlayStation 5. He goes off on this long tangent reminding everyone that the world's not in great shape at the moment. Why? What is the fucking point? This whole review is like asking your friend their opinion on something and they just start talking about shit totally unrelated to the question. Hey man, how was that new Harry Potter movie? I know you just saw it. What did you think? Well, Charlie, as you know, I was recently laid off this week, and things have just been kind of hard recently. I've been finding myself crying a lot at night, and, it doesn't help that my girlfriend was recently cheating on me, and I found out, but that's really not even the worst part, Charlie. The worst part is she was cheating on me with my own father, the man who gave birth to me. The ultimate form of betrayal, Charlie, so it hasn't been a great week for me. It's been rough. Oh, okay, well, yeah, that's all, bad shit, but how was the movie? The thing I actually asked about. It's just a stupid fucking review. I don't understand what is going on with the state of gaming journalism. It's terrible. And yeah, that's really about it. Just wanted to rant about that. That's it. See ya. Let's go over the Stadia's failure. I'm sure Ackman's going to do a really thorough dive on it. This is just such a victory lap for me. I still remember the second this got announced and their first trailer, I was outspoken about how silly it is. I didn't believe it was a good idea. And I was firm in my stance that I didn't think it would succeed. And I had so many fucking doubters, and especially in chat, that were like, no, Charlie, this is actually the future. You're just too, reptile brained to see the potential of the Stadia. This is how gaming's going to be from now on. I can't wait to get my Stadia. I've already pre-ordered. And I called you a fucking idiot. And now look at it. It's already dead. It was a complete waste. Like an absolute crash and burn project. Another Google stinker right into the trash bin. Just like Google Plus and the million other products Google has tried to launch. Now maybe there's still some merit to the idea itself, but the Stadia was never going to be the one to execute it well. It never stood a chance.
After just 3 short years, Google has announced that they are pulling the plug on Stadia, canceling all future support for
cloud gaming. Why?
18th. Like watching a kid stick a fork in the electrical outlet. We all saw this coming. Breaking into the console or a team, it represents thousands of people who are working on this business. Thousands of people no longer working on this business. And that's just...
If they ever were to begin with. I don't really think this is like a good argument for the sake of it sticking around either, to be honest. This doesn't really address the question super well. It's just like, we put a lot of money into it and we have a big team. Of course it's going to succeed down the line. Like, the answer I would look for is, how are you going to ensure that it stays in the market, and is competitive? Not like, but we already poured so much money into it, so of course it's going to stick around. You know what I mean? It's such a non-answer.
But it's backed by Google, so they've got a pretty good chance. I say it all the time, first impressions are so important in gaming. I have so little patience for
such
things
a bad
that
first
suck
impression
and don't work. This is how...
Does anyone remember the old Stadia commercials they used to run during, I think it was E3 2019? They've made a big push in, I really think it was E3, they were like floating around through like space and time or something after going through a kid's room. Oh my god, it was so embarrassing. Jesus Christ.
I have no regrets. The first impression didn't stick the landing, and I was never given a reason after this to ever pick up a Stadia or try it.
Do you remember, I think it was a year after launch, they still only had, was it sub 10 games on their service? I wonder if I can still find the old articles. I think it was like a full year and they only had like 5 or 6 games on the entirety of Stadia. And they were all full priced. Let me get the exact number. Let me pull up an old article. Google Stadia only has one exclusive game, which is Tequila Works' Guilt, which was a system launch. There's no word yet on what exclusives could be, and then they speculate that Typhoon Studios might have one, which I don't think they ever did. But yeah, as of January 16th, there was one exclusive on the game. As of February 19th of this year, they have 200 games. 286 games as of February of this year. The service launched with 22 games and added 4 more in December of 2019. By the end of 2020, the service had 130. Okay, thank you.
Google Stadia is not a video game console.
It's a controller.
It was software, not hardware. Yeah. And I only just
get a controller
realized
for
that
the cloud gaming
after it was canceled. That's how poorly the marketing got the message across. That's how nobody talked about it. I mean, this was supposed to be a massive new competitor to Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo.
And it was so
Steam,
close,
Epic
goddammit.
Games, Battle.net. And I don't even know what was
It was
special
on the cusp
or
of
unique
greatness.
about it. If you actually go
I'm sure he's going to show it, but I'll tell you right now, I'll rip the band-aid off. I also thought the Stadia was a console for like the first 2 years. It wasn't until we were doing an episode of the podcast where we were joking about it that we learned the Google Stadia was never a console. It's a controller. And it's a controller that like gives you access to the Stadia Cloudflare gaming. So you never even got like a console. You got a controller. It's basically, yeah, like he said, it's basically a software. And I think you could access the software without the controller. I don't think that was necessary. But if you purchase like a Stadia, I suppose, you get a controller.
These are all games that are I think they're running through these very quickly right now. The biggest
Damn,
thing
that's
about
a
what
sick
Google did
controller.
with their platform with Stadia.
Looks like the
was
Ouya.
controller. Like I legitimately think they're going to be XY, and around the back here.
Yeah. It's just a pretty standard controller. I wouldn't say it's a sick controller, but it's a functional one. Like, this is just the tried and true vanilla controller design. Nothing crazy about it, not reinventing the wheel. But it's fine, it seems.
Been the absurd gaming platform on Earth.
Yes, this is the one.
I mean, it supported 4K resolution and 60 FPS with HDR. They had a premium subscription service, kind of like Xbox's Games with Gold, where you'd get free monthly games, and once you got them, you...
What's crazy is this 50 games instantly is their whole catalog. They launched with 22 games. So they're already promised... Well, I don't know when this was, but they're promising more games than their service currently had. And they finished with 286 titles, which is actually less than the Nintendo 64 had. I think among all consoles, it is the lowest amount of games total, at least of consoles I can think of. Even the Sega Genesis, I think, had more. And that was a console that was dead on arrival because they surprise announced it at E3 and said, go buy it right now. It's in stores. Let's see. That's considered one of the biggest console flops of all time, and Sega Genesis had... was it the Sega Saturn? I don't know, I'll check both. But Sega Genesis had 800, and let's see the Sega Saturn. The Sega Saturn had 1,046. So it was definitely the Genesis I was thinking of. And I was wrong, Sega Genesis still had more titles than Nintendo 64. Nintendo 64 had 380 something, I think. How many did the Ouya have before it died? Let's see. Did it beat the Ouya at least? Oh, fuck me. Before the Ouya's untimely demise, it had 1,250 games. As of June 2019. Jesus. Yeah, I guess it just ported all the mobile games, so it's kind of cheating. Let's see how many exclusives Ouya had, because the Stadia finished with, I think the article said 10. So how many exclusives did Ouya have? Oh shit, it beat the Ouya. Oh wait, no, that's 2014. Damn, that's like the most current article on it too. As of 2014, the Ouya had 6 exclusives. Stadia had 10.
Fuck Nintendo is doing with Switch Online.
No. Ouya didn't. I mean, no one played Ouya, mind you. Ouya was completely a joke, a huge meme. I had an Ouya and I used it as an ice tray at one point. Like, it was a complete worthless piece of shit. What is the Ouya? It was. What do you mean? What is the Ouya? How the fuck is there anyone out there that doesn't remember the Ouya? This was the most popular Kickstarter for a long time. They hyped this up as like, console for gamers, by gamers. It's going to have every game you've ever wanted on it. It's also going to be coming at the highest possible graphical resolution. It's also just going to be one of the best gaming experiences you'll ever have in your life. Just like filled with a bunch of buzzwords and everything. This is probably just clickbait, but it was just filled with tons and tons and tons of buzzwords, but it just ended up being mobile game ports and shovelware. Yeah, like I said, I had an Ouya. I used it as an ice tray. I tried it, but it had no use, so I used it as an ice tray. Like, what the fuck else was I supposed to do with it?
Own product, I can say, hey, go follow me on Instagram. That doesn't cost me anything. It just seemed like Google started this thing, noticed that it wasn't gaining traction immediately, and then like was slowly
Is Destiny 2 on Stadia?
out until just now when they finally yanked that last little bit out. Google also,
I kind of want to try Destiny 2
when
on
they
Stadia.
shut down some of the game development they were doing.
What a disaster.
Their idea was to shift to more.
Some Destiny players had a Stadia just to play ranked because it was against much easier players. Oh, that's so smart. That is so fucking smart. Oh, you just play against Stadia gamers? Fuck me.
Especially if it doesn't offer any obvious benefits. Like, bro, apparently Hideo Kojima was working on a new Death Stranding exclusively for Stadia, and Google canceled that? Like, how?
They must have
How
watched
do
my
you do
moist
that?
meter.
It's Hideo Kojima. Google had created. You're out of here. On a positive note, though, Google will be refunding anyone who
Actually,
bought games on
huge,
Stadia.
yeah.
And that's the most pro-consumer thing they can do out of this. Obviously, they're not going to, like, refund, you know, this service that you paid for. It's a service, right?
We literally signed the publishing agreement with Stadia last week, so I would assume the internal teams there, who are lovely, are likely finding this out at the same time we are, since I had a super energetic meeting with them last week about us joining. Eek. Ooh. Big stinkerooski on that one.
Peace.
Nice. Rest in peace, Stadia. Oops. Just another big I told you so moment there, gamers. I told you that shit was destined for failure. Oh, I knew it. But it's not just me. Pretty much everyone said that was probably trash. There was just some people that really bought into it. It really wasn't just me. That was like the coldest take of all time. It was awful from the get-go. Thanks to Resub West in JB. I just always hold these like one guy grudges, or like one guy's like super passionate about something, but I know he's wrong. It's just like, oh, I can't wait. I just can't wait until it's like definitively proven. Like this. Just like Anthem, by the way. I will always wave that around. I said with Jackson during the Anthem beta, this game is absolute abhorrent trash and it's terrible. And we got eaten alive on the Anthem subreddit. They're like, these fucking assholes don't understand that it's a beta. They don't get it. All of this is going to be fixed when the game releases next month. All of their complaints are going to be looked back on so stupidly to think that they wouldn't be addressed by launch. And you know what happened? None of them got fixed because the beta was out a month before the fucking game was. They had no time to fix it. Delusion. And then they never even apologized to us on the subreddit. They just silently agreed with us and then made posts whining about how bad the game was. Anthem trailers and pre-release media made it seem like it was the next best game, new Destiny, and then it flopped harder than any other game. Yeah. It had a lot of potential. It really did. But the beta, it became very clear that it was a pile of trash, steaming dog shit. Netflix has a lot of good shit on it, but a lot of soggy dog shit too. Without a doubt, though, the worst thing Netflix has is their newest announcement called Cuties. Cuties goes above being just a bad movie. It's like an actual fucking crime. Here's the little Netflix blurb about it, a little Shark Tank pitch to get you invested, make you want to watch it. Amy, 11, becomes fascinated with a twerking dance crew. Hoping to join them, she starts to explore her femininity, defying her family's traditions. Pedophiles everywhere were pumping their fists in excitement. Finally, a movie made just for them. Fucking Dan Schneider must have fallen out of his seat in excitement when he read that synopsis. Here's the French cover, the original, versus the Netflix cover for Cuties. You can immediately tell which one's which, even if there wasn't French on one of them. As you can see, the American version on the right here clearly wants to just focus on hypersexualizing children. Every actress in this movie is actually 11 years old, by the way. Also, that tagline about twerking and femininity, that's on no other piece of media talking about this. It's only Netflix's explanation for the movie. So it focuses only on the twerking. It seems like they only wanted to post this movie on Netflix to try and normalize pedophilia. Now, there's a trailer for this movie, but I'm not going to click on it because I'm not a pedophile and I'm not a fucking idiot. That feels like some kind of trap set up by the FBI where you click on that and you basically speed run onto the sex offenders registry. It's like the old anarchist cookbook shit where if you Google that, you're immediately put on a list. This really does feel like some kind of trap where they're trying to catch as many pedophiles as possible with as little work as possible by just posting this trailer and then just taking everyone's name down that watches it. Or even worse, leaves a like on it. If you leave a like on it, you probably go to jail. It's just so fucking disgusting that this kind of movie would be put on Netflix and advertised in this way. I don't know if the movie's actually even like this, because like I said, this is the only blurb that said anything about 11-year-olds focusing on twerking. So maybe the movie's really not even like that. But I'm not gonna find out. I don't want to find out. It's still fucking disgusting. Netflix has a lot of explaining to do with how they've advertised this movie, because it looks like they only want pedophiles to watch this. This kind of shit just shouldn't be acceptable under any circumstances. And what the fuck is next for Netflix anyway, now that they're trying to open this Pandora's box of pedophilia? Next month, introducing Friend on Netflix. Ralph, a 13-year-old boy, finally gets his big break, landing a major role in a blockbuster movie where he's introduced to Harvey Weinstein. Together the two become inseparable as Harvey Weinstein teaches Ralph how his penis works and how to keep landing roles in Hollywood. Join them on the inspirational journey only on Netflix. It's just fucking terrible stuff, and I'm not trying to give Netflix any ideas, because that actually sounds like something Netflix would put money into at this point. Now, just a little while ago, Netflix released this statement: "We're deeply sorry for the inappropriate artwork that we use for Menomenes." Jeez, I just sound like fucking Doodlebob from SpongeBob. I don't speak French, sorry, I don't know how to say that. Cuties. It was not okay, nor was it representative of this French film, which won an award at Sundance. We've now updated the pictures and description. Yeah, but you see, it doesn't fucking matter, Netflix, because you've already shown us your asshole. You showed us why this is on your catalog because you want pedophiles to watch it. Your marketing was geared towards people that are attracted to children. You made it about twerking. Your cover photo was children twerking in very revealing clothing. Honestly, it's fucking disgusting. And even 4chan doesn't allow that. 4chan came out saying they will not allow Cuties content to be posted there. 4chan has better morals than Netflix right now. That's the fucking state of Hollywood. Now, I keep saying Hollywood even though this is a foreign film, but it was completely changed by Hollywood. They totally fucking rebranded it and made it more focused on sexualizing children than the initial shit showcased. Whether or not the movie is actually a sexualization of children, I have no fucking clue. But it doesn't matter because Netflix totally rebranded it for pedophiles. They made it like some kind of Willy Wonka's golden ticket to the pedophile factory just for them. It makes no sense why they'd change everything to focus on sexualizing kids other than just to try and normalize that, which is fucking disgusting, terrible, and gross. It's all super fucked up, and what's even more fucked up is just how common this shit is becoming from a lot of different places, like Twitter specifically, with minor attracted persons maps. There's so many people that are trying to make pedophilia seem normal or acceptable, and I really hope we don't actually get to that point because pedophilia isn't acceptable under any circumstances. It's just genuinely fucking not. But the more times I log on Twitter, the more often I'm seeing people saying how wrong it is to discriminate against pedophiles, or you're a bad person if you don't support pedophiles or something. And then you'll have Netflix do some shit like this, which reinforces that idea that pedophilia is normalized now. Get with the times. It's 2020. And it's just absolutely disgusting. Netflix had to have a lot of people okay this when this sexualization of children for cuties was put on their catalog. There had to be a lot of people that looked at that and gave it the green light before that went live. It's not like Netflix can turn around and be like, oh, no, guys, it was actually just one person. It was Chris, the intern. Turns out he's a convicted sex offender, and we just didn't know it. But don't worry, he's gone now. We've promoted him for his work. You know, they can't just, like, accuse one person of doing this and having it slip through the cracks because it's fucking Netflix. There is an actual department that greenlights all of these things. I know it because I've been declined from it with fucking Hard Turbo. So they'll decline some shit like Hard Turbo and then put on some pedophilia shit. It's weird and gross. So it's not like there is just a single person behind this. It is all of that department. A huge chunk of people at Netflix saw this description that's talking about 11-year-olds twerking and a poster that sexualizes kids and said, yep, that's going on Netflix, baby. That's going right on the front page. And that is just the most baffling part of all of it. It's just a terrible, terrible, terrible situation. And yeah, that's about it. See ya. It's been a busy week for Mark Zuckerberg. He's become the face of the metaverse, and in return, he's become the punching bag for it as well. When Mark Zuckerberg's not busy sucking the blood from the necks of unicorns like Voldemort, he's making horrifying promotional pieces for the metaverse where he's interviewing people, and it's frightening. It's genuinely, like, startling. And I just wanted to share the most recent one where he's talking about gaming. And this fucking thing sounds like two aliens having a conversation with one another, but they're trying their best to blend in as humans, but they don't know enough about our culture. They read a single book like 50 Shades of Grey and assume that's how all humans behave. It is startling how not normal this feels. And I get that it's low-hanging fruit to make fun of Mark Zuckerberg, but god damn it, he's such a goofy goober and all this metaverse shit has been so wacky, I can't help but talk about it.
Keep creating. Now, Deb from our studios team is joining me. Deb, do you want to take us through some of the exciting games in the pipeline for Quest?
Absolutely.
I hate to interrupt so early, but Mark Zuckerberg is genuinely made of binary code. I can see the numbers being crunched and the algorithms being run to try and make it appear like he's human. He's like smiling at the weirdest times. It's like an NPC that's glitching out during a conversation in a video game. Unfortunately, the smiling code just isn't complete. This doesn't look human. Like he'll be talking and then throw in a smile randomly, but it looks like this. This is not a normal smile. This is that kind of shit that you fake on Christmas morning when you get socks that you didn't want, but you don't want your parents to feel bad. You don't want them to know that you're not happy with the gift, so you give them one of these.
Over the years, we've had the opportunity to work with incredible developers like Vertigo Games, the studio behind fan favorite Arizona Sunshine.
I love Arizona Sunshine. That game basically got me and my friends through the first few months of the pandemic.
That's awesome. If you enjoyed that, Mark, I think you'll be excited that we're partnering with Vertigo on 5 more great games.
One thing you'll notice throughout the entire interview is the woman that Mark Zuckerberg is interviewing is using a lot of hand gestures, and I'm convinced it's a cry for help. Like she's trying to spell out torture with her hand gestures, kind of like YMCA, but torture. Very reminiscent of that time that soldier was caught in the Vietnam War, and during a press conference he started blinking torture in Morse code. I think that's what's going on here. I can't prove it, but there's definitely something fishy afoot here. There's no reason for her to be like fucking popping and locking throughout the whole interview. There's gotta be a reason for it. Also, that Mark Zuckerberg just told the second biggest lie of his career, right behind the time he said that Facebook wasn't selling user data. Him saying he knows what Arizona Sunshine is and it got him through the pandemic. There's a 0% chance he's ever played that game. You can tell by the way he answered it. Oh, Arizona Sunshine. I do love that video game.
From Deep Silver and others. We'll share more about this lineup very soon.
Nice. What else is coming?
Well, the metaverse is constantly evolving. So one of the most important aspects will be live service games that launch updates and new downloadable content regularly, like Echo VR, Beat Saber, Onward, Pistol Whip, and more. We're focused on this a lot right now.
I don't know if those are hype announcements or anything, like someone right now hearing that and fucking pumping their fists like, yeah, Pistol Whip, let's go. The only game I know there is Beat Saber, and that game does slap for sure. I don't know exactly what's going to change about Beat Saber in the metaverse that isn't currently in Beat Saber, but god damn it, I mean, that sounds cool. But I think a cooler way to announce that would have been by doing literally anything else besides this. This just sounds like two Skyrim NPCs having a conversation.
making sure games can build out active communities. Beat Saber has a passionate community.
Oh, I love Beat Saber.
So do I. And Beat Saber just passed $100 million in lifetime revenue on Quest alone. It's a great example of a game that keeps releasing fresh content.
This has the same energy of the Chris Pratt is so cool thing from Nintendo. Mark Zuckerberg just saying, oh, I love Beat Saber. I'm like, okay, Mark, whatever, I guess.
They've actually been working on evolving the way that you interact with the tracks and feel the music. Also, the team has been working on something really cool. Check this out. I can't wait to play this.
Oh, Jiminy Cricket, I cummed. Wow, I see why Mark Zuckerberg gave Beat Saber his stamp of approval with an announcement like that. Hooey! Like I said, I like Beat Saber as much as the next guy. I think Beat Saber is great. A fucking talented mapper once mapped the entire Shrek movie in Beat Saber to play through, so I think the game's incredible. But what the fuck is this?
And they keep partnering with incredible artists to release new music packs all the time. Did you play the Billie Eilish music pack last month?
A little more than I should have. I probably should have been working more on this Metaverse presentation.
Well, they have a great lineup of artists for 2022. And there's one more epic surprise before the end of the year. So stay tuned. Okay, have you played Population 1?
I mean, yeah, I love the game so much that...
For those who haven't...
Ooh, shit. She just cucked the Zuck. Interrupted him as he was about to lie about liking another video game. Apparently he's a huge Billie Eilish fan, and she just came in and then fucking slapped the dick out of his hand there. He was about to go in like, oh yes, actually, Population 0, one of my favorite games ever created. Of course, you know, a masterpiece by all accounts. And she said, no sir, not on my watch, putting the kibosh on that shit right away. Interrupted him, and he never tries to get back in the conversation. She just takes it. She takes control.
Population 1 is a thrilling battle royale that is only possible in VR. Since its launch at Connect last year, it has become one of the highest earning games on Quest and the biggest multiplayer FPS on the platform. You can have up to 24 people in at once for a match.
I won't play any more of this. You get the idea. It's a very weird conversation that just doesn't sound normal. Mark Zuckerberg has this incredible ability to make not only himself but everyone around him sound and act like robots. I bet she does not normally talk or move like this, but just being in the presence of Zuckerberg like fucking lobotomized her and had her like a puppet on his strings. She was the marionette, he was the puppet master, and this is the result. She was probably directed to act this way, like be as human as possible. So then she ends up looking like some kind of crazy cartoon character doing all exaggerated gestures and shit. It's just so weird. Every time Mark Zuckerberg tries to promote the metaverse or really anything, it's just uncomfortable. I just want to talk about it again. I mean, that's about it. See ya. Another day, another out-of-touch dog-shit metaverse presentation, desperately trying to get anyone, anywhere, even somewhat excited about the metaverse. I swear to God, there was more hype around getting the bubonic plague than there has been for the metaverse. People get more excited getting fired from their job than anything involving the metaverse. I bet couples would prefer that their significant other cheat on them rather than join the metaverse. Everything around the metaverse has just been a catastrophic failure at every turn. It's like a star going supernova, but instead of a star, it's a septic tank. And instead of an explosion, it's everyone laughing it out of existence. It is such a joke of a concept at this point. Every single thing the metaverse tries to show or do is immediately mocked because it is so unbelievably out of touch. Today, they did a last-ditch effort to try and appeal to athletes, so now they have Coach Nat entering the metaverse in order to try and get basketball players excited about metaverse possibilities, and it's fucking abominable. This might be their worst one yet. I would rather watch my car get stolen in front of me than watch more of these metaverse presentations. It is baffling. Let me go ahead and show it to you.
Coach Nat, rather than communicate by Zoom, to come down on the stage and demonstrate to everyone what you're able to do at these clinics.
Hello and thank you, Adam.
Yeah, that is Shaquille O'Neal's voice, and I love Shaquille O'Neal. He's like the Keanu Reeves of sports. He's just so fucking likable. How can you not be a fan of the Diesel? Shaq could beat the shit out of me, spit on me, and leave me stranded for dead in the desert, and I'd still ask for an autograph afterwards and say nice things about him. He's definitely the best part of this awful event here, but you can tell he's phoned it in. It's just a paycheck for him. Now, all of the astute observers out there will have noticed that in the Zoom call, there was a lot of big names. Probably the biggest amongst them was Obama. I don't know why Obama was there. Maybe he was like the chief engineer behind the Coach Nat programming. I couldn't really tell you. I don't know why, but what a power move. Maybe they're crediting Coach Nat for Obama becoming president. Like, without Coach Nat, Obama would have never been elected to office, which would be a crazy selling point, but my god, that would be pretty fucking hype. But I don't know exactly what the Zoom call was about. Maybe they were all brainstorming like, how can I get better at basketball at 80 years old? You know, what does it take? Oh, Coach Nat, the local geriatrics athlete instructor. Alright, let's see Coach Nat app. And then they bring him out on stage. I can't find the whole clip. Not that I've looked that hard because I just really like this part. But either way, I like to just imagine Coach Nat is credited for everyone in that Zoom call's success, no matter what it is.
Holy cow. I mean, we'd heard a lot about him during the pandemic, but I'd never stood next to him.
My role is to help coach, train, develop the next generation of NBA talent. I know all the best moves and am untethered by one single dimension. I can even make a free throw.
I don't know what it is about the metaverse where they have to choose the absolute laziest character design of all time, but they just have Coach Nat looking like a zombie, like a reanimated corpse of a basketball player at some point. And it's the same thing from like their Super Bowl commercial where they didn't even bother putting legs on any of the avatars. Second Life does a better job than Metaverse. Fucking VR chat does a better job than the Metaverse. It is baffling how unbelievably lazy and out of touch the Metaverse is. I don't know too much about the modern NBA, I haven't kept up in quite a few years, so I don't know exactly who's introducing Coach Nat, but he looks like Jeff Bezos on a keto diet, and somehow more robotic. He's like a failed android. I wouldn't be surprised if the presenter is actually part of the metaverse as well, just some kind of failed cyborg experiment that they've manifested through a 3D printer to go on stage and unenthusiastically introduce this metaverse coach. It's just so weird. It's like there's no human beings that actually work for these companies, and they just don't bother trying to hide it, just totally shameless. This dude has about as much emotion as a mannequin. He delivers the world's most unenthusiastic holy cow. He said it with about as much enthusiasm as me putting away clean dishes from the dishwasher. It's just, why even have this guy presenting your product? It's gonna like kill any potential hype it might have accidentally garnered. Because you have this guy who just doesn't seem like he gives a fuck about it at all. And you have Shaq clearly reading off the script, and this guy doing his best to memorize his lines like a child in middle school for a presentation. It just doesn't work at all. Like, how the fuck can this be your best foot forward for the metaverse?
Before you leave, anything else you can do that you want to show the audience?
I can even be the real Superman.
Yeah, oh my god, he was flying, oh fuck, oh my god. Like, what reaction do they expect from that? It's a fucking video game character. I would expect it to be able to fly and move around or something, because it's not real. You can do anything you want. You could have taken his head off his shoulders and put it on his dick. Like, you could do anything. Like, why am I supposed to be impressed that the character's moving around? I don't know if it was supposed to be like a joke or something, but it went on for like 10, 15 seconds. It's so fucking weird. What do they expect? Because it's not like a good joke or anything like that. It's silly. It makes no sense at all. It's a fucking video game character. The whole idea of Coach Nat doesn't make sense to me either from a conceptual standpoint. It's supposed to be like a virtual coach through the metaverse to make you a better basketball player. If you are relying on a goddamn app to make you good at basketball, you've already failed. You're not going to make it as an NBA player or even a moderately decent high school basketball player. To be good at the game, the sport, it is a physical activity. You need a real coach to be correcting you real time as you're actually playing the sport. I don't think there's a reality where you can log into the Metaverse NBA Jam with Coach Nat and expect whatever you're doing there in the video game to translate into the real world. I don't see how that would happen. Unless it's like some kind of shit where Coach Nat also gives you some fucking microchip in your skull that is like the ball from Space Jam after he sapped all the talent from NBA players and given it to you for, $15 a month or whatever he costs. I just don't see the future of the NBA being in Coach Nat's hands. I don't think the best players are going to be suckling from the infinite wisdom of Coach Nat's bosom. It just doesn't seem plausible to me. I was really good at Guitar Hero, but I fucking sucked at the real guitar. There is just a difference between being good in a video game and being good in the actual physical world in the same, sport. I just don't see how that's going to change. Even if Coach Nat's giving, genuinely decent advice, keeping your elbow closer to you when you're shooting is good advice. But you can already find that advice for free on YouTube from just watching, general basketball tip videos as opposed to paying for the Coach Nat tutoring in the VR metaverse. And again, if you're going to pay for, coaching one-on-one, why not just get a real-world human being to teach you? Because then you can be in person and they can correct your form in real time. So you don't develop bad habits and they can actually give you the advice and show you how it's implemented as opposed to just being in this VR game. You can be ranked 1 in the Metaverse basketball program, but actually suck stinky shit in the real world at basketball. Because I don't think VR gaming ability is going to work on the court, right? I just don't see it happening. So yeah, this is just another fat L for the metaverse here. I don't know why they can't get anything right about it. It is shocking. Every new presentation, every new ad is somehow worse than all the previous ones. It just keeps getting worse for it. I don't know how they keep doing it. But yep, just wanted to share this new one. That's about it. See ya. There's a few things that everyone knows human beings can't live without. Water, air, a nice smile. But there's actually something that's often overlooked that's a necessity for life on this planet. And it's an ad blocker when using the World Wide Web. I am constantly reminded of this cold hard truth anytime on stream that I try and read about an event or something and I go to a godforsaken news publication that won't allow you to read the article without turning your ad block off. And eventually, after putting up a big stink, I just give in to the dark side, turn off the ad blocks, that way I can get the information about whatever I was trying to research and learn about. And 100% of the time, without fail, it's just a massive headache, just this visual nuisance, all this clutter with an inundation of ads that seems like it's some kind of scene from a 90s movie where you get hacked. Where it just has virus detected, go here for good porn, your doctor doesn't want you to see this, that kind of shit, just popping up all over the place. That is the modern landscape of the cyberspace without an ad block, unironically. There's banner ads, autoplaying ads in the bottom right of every news journalist site, ads on the side, ads in the middle of articles, ads everywhere. But what I didn't know until today is that if you try and watch a video on some of these mainstream media sites, you get an ad every 2 or 3 seconds. And I'm not exaggerating. And when I say you get an ad every 2 to 3 seconds, I don't mean you get a banner ad. I mean you get a full 20 to 30 second video ad that pauses your video to play that ad. So a 2-minute video that I was trying to watch about a bobblehead heist ended up taking over 10 minutes, and I still didn't even finish the video because there were that many ads. I was still only a little over halfway through it. It is absurd. It's unusable trying to navigate through the internet without an ad block. It is crucial. I would argue it's a basic human right at this point to have an ad blocker when using the internet. It is that fucking atrocious. Just check this out. Did you hear about the Pittsburgh Penguins bobblehead heist that just happened? Someone earlier came in here there was some on-the-ground, boots-on-the-ground reporter going over that saying, Charles, something huge just happened in Pittsburgh. Is that what it is? There was a bobblehead heist? I thought they had burned down the entire Pittsburgh facility for the Steelers or something. So they stole bobbleheads? Are bobbleheads easily resellable? Do you make a lot from stealing bobbleheads?
Because said bobbleheads have been stolen in a...
Oh! Not the ad. Good heavens, why?
And it got me thinking, who's having the worst seat?
Thanks a membership, Tamago.
Ready?
Oh my, you can't be serious. The back-to-back? Heavens to Betsy. The memorabilia were meant to be handed out to fans in celebration of 52-year-old who played with the Penguins from 1990 to 2001.
All this year. And you could certainly nominate the Pittsburgh Penguins for that. Kyle Dubas, their general manager, and some people around that team, for some reason, thought...
Oh my good, what is... Who? Oh, is this what Purgatory's like? Is it... What is this? You get 3 seconds of a video and then 25, 30 seconds of an ad? Is this the future? Holy shit.
That this team
That's gotta be it, right?
Close to contending for a Stanley Cup, or could contend for a Stanley Cup. They went out, they got Erik Karlsson, they got Riley Smith, they got a bunch of veteran guys. Things have gone sideways.
Oh my god! What is... No way! This website needs to be banned. ASAP. Whoever owns this site needs to be thrown in jail. What?
Things have gone south. And you could certainly argue right now that there's not...
His membership, one guy. Oh! I have to watch the whole video like this. I have to know. How deep does this go? This can't be legal, right? This can't be. There's no fucking way. How do you even use the internet without an ad block? You can't even watch this.
Ahora obtén 2,500 de descuento de bono total en la Chrysler Pacifica 2020.
Have you ever watched cable TV? There's no way it's this bad.
Team in the NHL that is further away from winning a Stanley Cup, or at least contending for a Stanley Cup, than the Pittsburgh Penguins are right now. That's a
okay. That might be the end of it. He's got 2 sentences out this time.
You get to thinking, and I think there's some teams in the NHL that are saying, hey,
I think it's smooth sailing. No way! How? Wait, how do you get it? Isn't there like laws in place to prevent this? I'm pretty sure there's laws in place for this, right? How about to fucking report them to the Better Business Bureau, even though they don't do anything?
Hold my beer. How about the San Jose Sharks? On pace for a goals differential of minus 148. That would be the worst since the glory days of the Ottawa Senators in 93-94.
Oh, that was a jump scare. They fooled me with that one. Thought it was coming. Oh, there it is. Nope.
Really well and looked like they had something really special going, and then became...
I think we made it through the storm.
And fell off the map, and they're playing in a college arena.
Okay, there it is. That's the one. They teased us with a little foreplay there. This is what I come for, the ads. And then the guy in between who's just talking about some hockey stats, I guess. Man's able to get 3 words out. Hold my beer. Bang. Sisyphus-type video. Pretty much, actually. Yeah. What an absolutely unusable site. That is incredible. That is absolutely incredible. So who stole these bobbleheads? Oh, here we go. Immediately, amused hockey fans pointed a collective finger at one suspected culprit, zeroing in on the Philadelphia Flyers' 7-foot-tall, irreverent, and slightly unsettling mascot, Gritty. Jesus Christ, wait, their mascot is Gritty? That's fire. I don't think I've ever seen their mascot, nor did I know his name was Gritty. How much money do you think they make every time someone watches the entire video? I don't think anyone can watch the entire video. This video is only 2 minutes long, and there's still 53 seconds left, and it's been like 10 minutes because there's so many ads. I think most people will have probably already clicked off or have died of old age. But with the amount of ads so far, I think that's like ad number 13 or 14, they probably make like $2. Like, it's just not worth it. That's nuts. I've never seen one this bad, ever. This video just started playing and immediately went to an ad. There's no way this is commonplace. Using the internet without an ad block is absolutely awful.
Of starting a fatal house fire in Green Valley Ranch.
Oh, that is not the ejaculation story. That's far different. Fort Collins police services said the investigation began in Gillette. Immediately to an ad. Maybe this is the norm. Is this the norm? I put in that second clip there just so you can see that I was experiencing the same thing on a different website. You only get like this short burst of what you're there for, like the video component that is, before it's interrupted by ads, it seems. I thought it might have been just exclusive to that first site I was on, but then it happened on this website too. So I'm guessing it's more common than I think.
And there's not many people out there in the modern day and age that use the internet without an ad block, luckily. But now there's like this war on ad block that YouTube's kind of spearheading, and this is what it looks like without it. So you should be able to recognize why it's such a big deal that ad blocks are here and why they need to stay. So any kind of attempts to get rid of them, I think, is just a detriment to the overall landscape of the internet, honestly. After seeing this today, it is in a state that's unforgivable. You can't even watch a video from these publications without an ad popping up every couple of seconds. So you don't even get... The content is the ad at that point, and the break is the news story. Like, it's so fucking flipped and weird. And I just had to talk about this because I was baffled at the frequency of ads on journalist sites like this. That's crazy. That's about it. See ya. Alright, fair warning, things are gonna get a little bit heated here, so I apologize in advance for maybe getting a little red in the face. Excuse my potty mouth and pardon my French, but Netflix is a bunch of dummies. Netflix, for some reason, greenlights every single project that accidentally floats across their desk, assuming it came from someone with a pulse. I hate to be so crude and crass with my language here, but Netflix is a bunch of goofball, stupid idiots. It blows my mind that they have so many Netflix originals and so few of them are even decent. I want to be clear, I'm only focusing on Netflix originals and not its overall catalog, even though I do think the strength of Netflix's overall catalog has been diminishing in a big way over the last few years. It's becoming pretty weak in comparison to the competitors. I'm only talking about Netflix originals for this video. They release so many, and I guarantee you haven't heard of even 2% of them. According to this data, they released nearly 900 originals in 2022. Where did they go? They certainly weren't marketed or advertised efficiently. They just fucking flush them down the Netflix shitter or something. Where are they? I can probably count on one hand how many Netflix originals of 2022 I actually watched and liked, or even really heard of in a big way. The others are just left to fester and die, just a rotted, bloating corpse on the Netflix catalog that nobody will ever click on because they are not interesting. I just don't understand why they greenlight so many productions and why they take so many series and put them on here as a Netflix original when most of them are just actually horrible. It's movies and shows that nobody will ever click on. Netflix original presents The Poop That Took a Pee. Netflix summer blockbuster #1 trending. Taking My Dog Bill to Get Neutered. A 3-part docuseries. Netflix original. Huge, yeah. Like, no one wants any of these things. I just don't get it. And I guess the reason I'm a little heated is because Netflix is an expensive fucking subscription. Like, Netflix costs a lot, and there's, like, nothing on there that I really watch actively. I really just kind of watch the big Netflix originals, like the good ones, the rare time that they have a hit. But for every one hit, they have 1,000 shit. It's just so weird how they, with a smile on their face, will throw so many things at the wall and just hope maybe 1 or 2 of them stick. I just can't imagine that's a super effective business strategy, but then again, what do I know? I thought them removing password sharing would pretty much put them in the grave. I couldn't have been more wrong. They now have more Netflix subscribers than ever because people were too gluttonous. They needed their fix of Netflix content, so they all immediately signed up after getting kicked off from password sharing crackdown. So clearly I'm not an expert on what's going to make Netflix a ton of money, but I can tell you what will never make them money. A Jake Paul documentary. I think the Jake Paul documentary they have slated to come out pretty soon is the perfect example of how out of touch Netflix is and how willing they are to just say yes to any project ever. Like, no one wants to watch a fucking Jake Paul documentary. This guy has vlogged every second of his life living in his brother's shadow since the time that he was an actual teenager. There is nothing about his life that people either don't know or care about if they don't know. Like, no one gives a fuck, and yet he's got a Netflix documentary coming out. Why? What is the point? Now, to be clear, I know the documentary isn't just about Jake Paul. He is a component of it. But what a wasted component. This is a waste of a Netflix original. Him just whining about being the villain of boxing, or the bad guy of the internet, or the Disney Channel star turned douchebag. Like, who cares? Who fucking cares? The new Jake Paul documentary on Netflix. Another perfect example of how out of touch Netflix is. Yeah, apparently they're doing a Jake Paul documentary called Untold. Jake Paul, the Problem Child. That's so ridiculously dumb. I cannot imagine even his own fans will watch this. I just can't. I really can't. Because it's fucking boring. Who the fuck is going to turn on Netflix and be like, I want to learn about Jake Paul, the guy who vlogged every single second of his entire goddamn life. I need to know more about Jake Paul. Like, have him do, like, if you're going to make a Jake Paul show, have him do something. Fucking send him to an underground fight club arena. The guy is a psychopath. Like, have him do crazy shit. Instead of just tell his life story that everybody already knows. Then call the fucking wambulance about people not liking him. It's just such, it's so simple. They don't get it. Netflix is so out of touch, it's crazy. Like, who the fuck cares? Have them do something interesting for the show. So what would you make a show out of? If I was tasked to make a Jake Paul show, I'd have this fucking goofball doing stupid odd jobs. I think that'd be interesting. Have him, like, train for Cirque du Soleil and put him in an actual performance and see if he tanks the entire fucking thing. Like, give him something to do to make actual entertainment, as opposed to just have him sit down in front of a camera, like, half fucking lobotomized to tell a dumb story nobody cares about, everybody already knows, where he orders some goddamn French fries whining about why people don't like him and he's the problem child. That's lame. That's fucking lame. Have him work in a high-pressure place that has to be nice, like a waiter. Okay, a bit of a silly idea, but like your heart's in the right place. Just have him do anything. Just give him shit to do to make an entertaining show. Fucking give him his own Eric Andre show and watch it be an absolute disaster. Even that would still be somewhat entertaining to see how bad it could get. Like actually just give him shit to do. It's the exact same thing I said about the quarterback show, where they just sit quarterbacks down to interview them, I guess. That's boring. No one's gonna turn on Netflix to learn about fucking Jake Paul's life that they already know. Dirt cheap to produce. Yeah, but you're gonna get nothing out of it, and it's not gonna be that cheap. You think Jake Paul did this for cheap? One of the greediest men on the planet? You think he did this Netflix deal for cheap? Hell no. Why do people care so much? Nobody cares. This is gonna be a massive fucking flop. Nobody cares. That's the point. That's the point I'm making. Netflix is so lost. It just produces trash. And then occasionally gets lucky with like one good thing that comes out. Do you think they'll make something with other creators? They already have multiple times, and they all flop. Miranda Sings has a show on here. I don't know when Netflix is going to learn its lesson. I don't know. I don't know what it takes to get the message through. Paying oodles of clams every month for a Netflix subscription, and this is the kind of shit they deliver to the table? This is what they cooked up in the kitchen? Bring the chef out here. I want to have a few words here. Where's the Netflix chef? Because this is revolting. I'm sending it back to the kitchen. Just fucking why? I just don't understand. And Jake Paul is not the only YouTuber they have done this with or done similar things with. I just don't get it. Again, I don't think this is something even his fans care to see. I just don't even know who the audience is even supposed to be for this. Like, what's the target demographic? Brain rot zombies that just doom scroll Netflix forever watching everything that pops up? Because I feel like that's the only people who will actually even bother having this on for a split second. Jake Paul is not an interesting person to make a series out of about his untold story. And his brother became a superstar, and he rode his coattails, and then he himself became a superstar. End of story. Like, sure, there's probably some nuance throughout there, and I'm sure he's gone through some difficult times in his life. Everybody has. But that doesn't mean that it makes for an interesting show that people are going to want to sit down and fucking watch. Like I said, if you wanted to make something with Jake Paul, that's totally fine. But just have him do something that'll make it entertaining other than just telling his story. Have him fucking ramp the Batmobile off of a turbo Omega ramp over 12 flaming school buses, and then when he lands on the other side, have him do a no-holds-barred 2-minute keg stand till he pisses himself. Like, I don't know. Just have him do anything. There's just no reason he should even be a part of, like, the untold story of Jake Paul. Jake Paul, untold. Again, I know it's not all about him, but, like, why even have him in it? It doesn't make any sense. It's just, it really feels like some kind of desperation from either Netflix or whoever was producing the Untold series itself to try and get some kind of cheesy, cheap clicks on the production. Like, Jake Paul's name would be enough of an attention grabber to have people come in. But I just don't think that's the case for this, because no one gives a fuck about the Jake Paul story, about his transition into being a boxer and being labeled a bad boxer and being labeled a villain and all of that. It's just not interesting. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because Netflix just has so much garbage on it. And I really think this is a great example for just they greenlight anything, actually anything, which I don't think they should do. I would rather them just not have 891 originals come out in a year and instead maybe have less than half of that, but all of the originals are good. I think that'd be so much better. But anyway, that's about it. So yeah. I know this is a topic I've blabbered about quite a bit, but it's something that only continues to spiral more and more out of control. Advertisements during streams. Twitch being the most egregious culprit. I think out of pretty much every service that exists, Twitch's advertisement model is the worst. Actually, you know what? Strike that from the record. I take that back. Put the poop back in my butt. I'm not giving that crown to Twitch because I think mainstream media outlets are so much worse with their advertisements. I don't know how many of you have gone on the internet with the condom off, no ad blocker. It is miserable when you go to any news site. Like, tabloids are the worst, like Daily Mails, obviously, The Sun, shit like that. You will not even see your article. There'll be like 4 auto-playing ads everywhere, fucking cerebral jacking in, like, Ford advertisements. Like, the article is just encapsulated, entombed in so many ads. So I actually think journalism sites are much worse, but Twitch is a close second. Anyway, the reason why I'm yapping about this again is because a report was recently published about how Twitch viewership is down significantly, the lowest level it's been in 5 years since their bot crackdown, which I've already touched on, but a lot of people have been speculating that it's more than just the bots contributing to the decline in viewership. XQC's take recently just kind of popped off and has reopened this discussion to a broader audience, and it's a really interesting one. He and many others believe that a lot of people are tuning out of Twitch because the ads ruin the experience. What's going on Twitch right now is often being compared to television, how TV started to decline once streaming got a foothold because most people switched from TV to streaming because they were fed up with all of the ad breaks interrupting them. It was far more convenient and a lot more enjoyable to just watch what you want to watch without any interruptions. But of course that opened up its own can of worms with how many streaming services are popping up like fucking weeds across the globe. It is a goddamn pandemic. But the point is, ads made people want to switch from that service, television, to something that had less ads. And in the streaming space, right now we're seeing that with Twitch mainly, but not just exclusively to Twitch, YouTube. YouTube ads have recently been fucking exploding. Like, there are so many more ads now that users are noticing during streams. Though it can't hold a candle to Twitch, where the standard affair on Twitch, if you don't have an ad blocker or if you're not subscribed to the streamer you want to check out, is you go on Twitch, you go to a category, you click on a stream, you sit through like a 2-minute pre-roll ad before you ever even see the content. You see, like in the top right, the countdown for how many more minutes of ads you have to sit through before getting to the content you wanted to watch in the first place. And you say it's not worth it, and you exit out of that person's stream and then just go to someone that you're subscribed to, or you just go somewhere else. Like, I am at the point, and I've been at this point for a while, where if there's a pre-roll that plays, I just leave. And on my streams, there are pre-rolls. Not because I put them there, it's because Twitch has it as an automated process. If you don't run at least, like, 3 minutes of ad breaks, 3 minutes worth of ads for every hour that you stream, Twitch puts pre-rolls there. You earn your good boy points through ad breaks on Twitch, and if you reach a certain threshold, they get rid of the pre-rolls. What benevolent saints. For me, though, I don't do the 3-minute ad break. I do the literal lowest level possible. I'll show you exactly what it looks like to clear up a lot of confusion I'm seeing, because now a lot of people are saying, Twitch is blameless. Actually, we need to all point our fingers at the streamers. They're the ones that are running 30 minutes of ads per every hour they stream. They're the ones that are greedy and putting the pre-roll ads there. And you're half right. There are streamers that do put the maximum amount of ads per hour possible and just force their viewers to just fucking take the punishment, take the belt to the cheeks. That's brutal. It does get rid of the pre-rolls, but that shit sucks. The pre-rolls are something that Twitch does, not the streamer. So as you can see here, streamers like you have to run up to 3 minutes of ads per hour. In the past month, streamers like you who are based in US, have 6K concurrent viewers, stream gaming, whatever, have to run 3 minutes of ads per hour. So they're trying to push that, and if you don't, then you get the pre-rolls.
So I have it set to 30 seconds of ads per hour that I stream, the actual lowest it can possibly go. And because of that, I have pre-rolls that Twitch shoehorns in there. But this can go all the way up to 22 minutes and 30 seconds worth of ads per hour that you stream. And I think there are streamers that do that. They just fucking have it go Insano style, turbo mode, off the charts ads out the wazoo here for it. And that is entirely on the streamers. That is not Twitch's fault. Like, I do think that ruins streaming. Streamers that do that and try and, like, normalize that level of ads. That shit is diabolical. But as for the pre-rolls, that is on Twitch. And I think that is a terrible, terrible practice. That is the antithesis to what streaming is supposed to be. Where it is just a live flow of content and you click on things that seem interesting or streamers that you might be interested in watching. And no one wants to sit through fucking 3 minutes before they even see that stream to see if they even like that streamer. They're just going to leave. Like I do. It's just stupid. But it is what it is. That's what the platform is. And it's extremely annoying. And I would actually say that the way Twitch does ads is worse than television ever was. By its very nature, streaming is supposed to be a constant flow of content. You are watching something live. And when it gets interrupted with a 3-minute ad break, it's not just like everything pauses while you watch those ads. You are just now missing 3 minutes of what you tuned in to see. Whereas television, even when you're watching like a live sporting event, when the ad break pops up, there's a timeout. There is a break. You don't miss anything. Or if you're watching your favorite show and it gets to the big climax and then there's an ad break, well, the climax doesn't happen in the fucking background. You don't miss anything. When it comes to streaming, you do. So I think it is much worse, and it is much more intrusive, and it is far more out of control now than it ever was for TV. Because at least with TV, there was like a set amount of commercial breaks. On Twitch, Jesus, Lord knows, because streamers control it. And there are a lot of streamers that just do like maximum ad breaks, so it'll be like fucking 7 minutes worth of ads for every hour streamed, or significantly more. Like they could be doing 3-minute ad breaks every like 10 minutes. Like there is no telling how many ads you will be served when watching a Twitch stream. At least with TV, you knew. There was an expectation, and there was plans around it from the content itself. Again, you didn't miss anything with the ad breaks. With streaming, you do. And it's annoying. And people are really fed up. So I do agree with the take that XQC has said, as well as many others have said, about how ads are literally leading to like the death of streaming, in particular on Twitch. Because Twitch is the worst offender for it. YouTube is going down that path with how many ads they're starting to shove down users' throats. Twitch is still in a worse state with it, and I don't see either platform improving in this department. I just think they're going to make it even worse. Especially Twitch. Twitch, I feel like, has been treading water for a while. Now they do this bot crackdown, their numbers plummet for a little bit. I think that maybe scares them a bit about like the potential advertiser hit that they might take, where the advertisers are like, oh, Twitch, this is a big drop. Maybe we won't spend as much on Twitch. Maybe it's not worth the budget that we're allocating over there. We're going to cut back on this. Like, and then they're going to go even harder, like pushing their other brand partners to try and like foster that relationship and keep it tight, because they're going to need to, fucking latch onto it. So I really feel like Twitch's direction with ads has only been getting worse and more intrusive and ruining the experience further and further. YouTube is starting to follow suit because, like I mentioned, they are pumping a ton of ads on streams as well now. Not to Twitch's level yet, but it is there. And I just think that it is horrible for streaming, like, in general. Nobody wants to sit through streams like that where it's interrupted by minutes worth of ads for shit nobody wants in the first place. It is what caused TV to go in a bit of a rough patch there, because streaming offered a better ad-free service. And I've already seen some spitball solutions here that I think are pretty trash. One of them was, well, you should be paying all the streamers anyway. So if you want to watch content ad-free, well, fork over some clams to the streamer and subscribe to them. What the fuck, Goober? No, that's super stupid. Streaming is free. Like, you are producing content for free. Getting any money back is just cherries on top. Like, it is a it is a service that is free. And if you now start requiring people to pay money to keep experiencing that service, well, you've got an issue, because never charge for something that was once free. That is like an age-old saying that remains true. You can find countless examples of that being proven time and time again. Nobody is going to want to pay for something that they were getting for free already. And it is, by its nature, a free service you're providing to viewers. If they like you so much they want to give you some money, then all power to them. I'm not their dad. They can make their own decisions, and that's great. You know, everyone's happy, whatever. But this is not a solution to Twitch's inundation of ads to the platform. Everyone shouldn't be required to spend money on the streams they want to watch in order to watch it uninterrupted and unimpeded. It sucks. That's silly. Another solution I've seen kicked around is, well, maybe the streamers just need to do a better job of, like, planning their ad breaks, kind of like how TV used to do it. I already don't like where that's going. We're regressing now to old TV habits, but the idea is streamers, when they're about to run their ad break or when the ad break is coming up, they pause everything and, like, tell their viewers, all right, here comes ads, go stretch, do that. Take some time if you don't want to watch them, and then we'll come right back after the ads in like 3 minutes or whatever. And I think there are some streamers that have experimented with that. I don't know how well it's been received. And theoretically it makes sense, because at least then they're not missing any content. But that's not going to work for every stream. You can't do that for every stream. You can't plan around all of that because these streams aren't planned. Like, I guess you can pause a game, sure. Like, that can kind of work, to pause your game that many times for like stretch breaks and whatever, but it's not going to work for every stream and every streamer. It just wouldn't. There's too many variables at play with every stream that happens. Also, I think it'd be very unfair to the people that just don't want to run ads in the first place. You can't just pause your stream for the pre-roll ads. You'd never have a stream, because everyone is going to get a pre-roll ad when they come to your stream. How the fuck are you going to ensure that they're not missing content with that pre-roll ad? They're going to. You have no way of stopping that. And I don't think the solution is to require everyone to start running, X amount of minutes of ads per hour. People don't want to do that. Like me, I don't want to do that. It's that simple. So I don't think that's a good solution either. It is a complicated problem. I recognize on Twitch's end, they need to make money off their platform. Otherwise, how the fuck are they going to keep it going? It's very expensive, and the way to do that is through advertising. But their advertising methodology, I think, is just really counterintuitive to what streaming is and has been. And it's just going in a really bad direction that continues to make it worse. Yeah, obviously I don't have all the answers there, but there's got to be something, because I really do think as this continues, more and more people are just not going to watch streams when an ad pops up, and it'll probably just turn them off from even clicking on streams in the first place, knowing that they're going to get ads before even going to it. So there's got to be a solution. There's got to be something to change with that from YouTube and Twitch's end of this inundation of ads. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to yap about it again. That's really about it. So yeah. Call me AOL because I'm delivering news that I'm sure you already know. Netflix is struggling. I'm sure you've seen the numbers. Year to date, their stock is down over 60%. But more specifically, over the last week, they've really fallen off a cliff. Just got fucking kicked right down that giant well in 300. They went down 37% in a week. So a lot of people are asking the question, is Netflix dying? And that stock graph is looking like a heartbeat monitor about to flatline. It's not looking good. That shit's looking like Blockbuster back in the day. And a lot of people are wondering, well, what could be the cause for this incredible decline so rapidly? And naturally, everyone's turning to me to answer these questions, since I am the preeminent expert on all things shitty movie and TV show related. I have a genuine passion for horrible media, whether that be horrible games, movies, music, shows, whatever. I just love watching and consuming the worst of the worst. Things that turn other people's stomachs, make them puke, cry, and question the existence of God. I get a big smile on my face and a wet spot in my trousers. I just really enjoy it. So when people saw this happening to Netflix, they were wondering my opinion on it. Is it because all of the terrible shows and movies Netflix keeps funding? And in my expert opinion, and it pains me to do this, I'm going to have to diagnose Netflix with shitty content disease, but it doesn't mean it's terminal yet. Netflix has been funding basically anything made by someone with a pulse,
And even that seems to be spotty. It feels like they're funding scripts written by fucking AI. They have a catalog of actual dog shit shovelware. Like, you remember DOSBox ROMs back in the early internet where it was just actual 30-second games that were just being uploaded to the ROM sites that were almost unplayable? That's Netflix right now. They're just this giant cum dumpster of almost unwatchable movies and shows. And it's things nobody is asking for. But they're putting a lot of money into making them for some reason. Like, they'll drop like 50 new originals on like a single weekend. Be like, hey, new on Netflix. Netflix presents The Poop That Took a Pee. And then they'll be scratching their heads like, oh, why is no one watching that one? We put a lot of money into that production. That's so weird. Why is no one watching this? It just shows that no one would ever even think to watch that Netflix is funding. Now, I want to make it clear, I don't think bad content is solely responsible for the decline of Netflix right now in terms of their stock price and all of that. I definitely think it contributes because as things get more expensive, because things are absolutely getting more expensive in our world, the first thing that people are going to cut is a service like Netflix. You know, Netflix is just a luxury to have, and it's an expensive one. It's $25 a month. So as the cost of living goes up, people aren't going to be able to justify subscribing to Netflix anymore when they're not even putting out content that they want to watch in the first place. And especially with so much competition right now, Hulu, HBO Max is kind of killing it. Even Crunchyroll slash Funimation to a certain degree, since anime is so big on streaming, and Netflix is doing a horrible job with their anime catalog with like JoJo's Part 6. God rest its soul. I know everyone's upset about that. Netflix cannot get anything right. Fucking JoJo's Part 6 has been divided up into like part releases where they released 12 episodes a few months back, and they still haven't released the next set of episodes for some inexplicable fucking reason. And they had the audacity to hype up, hey, good news, JoJo's Part 6 Part 2 might come out in 2022. Woo-hee-haw! Getting sidetracked. But competition, you know, Crunchyroll, Funimation, Disney Plus. Disney Plus kind of slapping them around right now since they took all of like the Marvel shows and everything, which people are just going to idly binge forever on that service. So the thing is, Netflix just has a lot to compete with now, and the content they keep funding isn't shit that people want to watch. So their originals don't keep them there, and Netflix has really been bled dry when it comes to shows that people love, to like beloved classics. All of those have gone to other streaming platforms, so Netflix is left with just like the worst of the worst. So I definitely think that does contribute, you know, just not having any of those classic shows anymore for people to just want to watch on Netflix. Those have all gone elsewhere, while also not providing any new originals, and then still increasing the monthly subscription price is just a recipe for disaster. They've been increasing the price but decreasing the quality of content on the service. It's just really ass backwards right now. I just think they're not really sure what to fund, so they just fund everything anyway, even if it's like a student project by a 9-year-old or some shit like that, and then hope that one of them sticks. So they'll get the occasional banger like Squid Game or Arcane, but for every Squid Game and Arcane, there were 1,000 Bruise Brothers and other shows that no one has ever heard of. So yeah, the quality of content hasn't been amazing, and that's surely contributed to a lot of people deciding like, I can't really justify paying $20 a month for Netflix anymore, I'll just cancel it and stick with one of the other services. I do think that's a contributing factor. And another thing I want to just say, and I don't know how much of an effect this has, but I really feel like this whole binge model that Netflix is still just living and dying on, which is where they dump an entire season of a show all at once, is just so fucking dumb. The binge model was cool in the early days where it's like, wow, I get to watch my favorite show that I remember when I was a kid all at once. I don't have to like wait week by week. Or even like a new show, like, wow, all of it's out all at once. But now the novelty, I think, is completely worn off. I much prefer a weekly release of a show. And on Netflix, Arcane proved it could work. It's so much more fun and engaging to watch a show week by week because then everyone's at the exact same pace. You get to discuss it with friends, family, even online, because everyone is at the exact same pace. So you can talk about what might happen next, come up with fan theories and speculate, and it's just a lot more fun to engage with the content that way, as opposed to the binge model where they drop all 12 episodes all at once, and then you'll have some people call out work the next day in order to finish it all in one night, and then you can never really talk about it with anyone because everyone's at different places in the content. Example, Stranger Things Season 3. Third season of Stranger Things was very good, but they dropped all the episodes all at once, so some people finished it in one day, some people in 1 week. So everyone was at different places in the show, and no one ever really talked about it. When Stranger Things dropped, there was a lot of hype, and then within like 2, maybe 3 days, no one was talking about Stranger Things Season 3. it just faded from everyone's memory. Whereas something like Arcane, which was on Netflix, people were talking about the entire run. Every single episode, every drop was trending on Twitter with people talking about it. It just gets people more invested in it. When you're able to discuss it with other people, it just makes it more fun. I just think that whole binge model is really counterintuitive to engagement, as well as keeping people on Netflix. I think it's really fucking stupid, to be honest. Like, if you're bleeding out. So you take your best shows and release them all at once. People finish them in one day, and then what's their incentive to stay on there? They'll have to wait another 6 months when you accidentally find another good show to fund. You know, like, why would they continue to pay for it that long? Whereas when it comes to a weekly release, Netflix does get lucky. They have another huge show like Squid Game, and they release it week by week. And then they get some people to stay longer because they're invested in that show. Like, it all just makes more sense to just do weekly releases, even just from a business standpoint. But yes, I do agree that the quality of the Netflix content hasn't been great. They've been pumping out a lot of net shits recently, and a lot of people are probably just not bothering to re-up a subscription. But Netflix is cracking down in what I believe to be the wrong area. They're just blaming everyone for password sharing, which is a legitimate problem from a business standpoint. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people share passwords. I myself am getting Netflix from Tiana's account. Everyone shares the passwords to their Netflix. So there is a lot of unpaying Netflix viewers. So that is a lot of money left on the table for them, but it's such a tricky problem for them to navigate, because if you really come down with an iron fist, just flop your meat on the table and like villainize anyone that's ever shared a password, it's going to make it a headache to continue using the platform. So most people just won't even bother, and since there's so many alternatives, they'll just go somewhere else. So them cracking down on password sharing is going to be a really tight rope to walk. I know they've tossed around the idea of doing like a really cheap Netflix subscription that has ads with it. For people that don't want to pay the full $20 but still want to watch the content, they could do a cheap alternative but getting some ads there. Maybe that's a decent solution. I don't really know. It's not like an unheard of one. I know other services offer that. I just don't know how successful they are in that area. But again, cracking down on password sharing, like, throw these people in the slammer. They shared their password with too many people. I want them fucking arrested. And like making it really like a cutthroat policy is only going to serve to damage Netflix further. So they have to really come up with like a consumer-friendly option to get people who are sharing passwords to instead pay a little bit to continue watching the content. And I don't know how the fuck they're going to pull off that balancing act. But I do think perhaps the best solution for hemorrhaging so many subscribers is just by offering better content. This is quite literally like that Twitter meme of make better content or I'm unsubscribing. That is actually happening to Netflix right now. The price of everything in the world is getting more expensive. Netflix is expensive. And most people aren't going to want to spend $20 a month for shit where they might get one good show twice a year. That's just not worth the cost. So the best thing they can do is just improve with what they're putting on the platform. And another thing that not a lot of people have mentioned is Netflix's numbers were heavily inflated because of COVID. When COVID hit, everyone went to subscribing to streaming platforms because everyone was locked at home watching shows and movies and shit like that. Now that everyone's getting back into like a normal routine in the real world, all those people are starting to cancel these subscriptions. So the numbers just got like really inflated. So maybe this is just equalizing and it's totally normal. Can't really say for sure, but what I can say for sure is Netflix has so much garbage on it that no one really wants to watch, while only ever providing a couple of good shows a quarter. So that, I think, is a big problem for them, and the competition's getting fierce. So I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because it's an interesting topic, I think. I always find it very fascinating when there's a company that's too big to fail starting to fail. I don't think Netflix is in any danger of closing its doors anytime soon. They still have like 220 million active subscribers, so they are still very much in the game. It's just a matter of them having a bit of a stumble here, and by a bit of a stumble, I mean they're fucking spiraling down a dirty toilet. A 65% year-to-date loss in the stock is kind of rough, but they're still fine overall. I don't think they're in any danger of dying anytime soon. So I just wanted to talk about it. That's about it. See ya. Alright, fine. Let's talk about Just Stop Oil, the saviors of soup, the mashed potato paladins. I'm sure you're familiar with them by now. Their big claim to fame is the time they threw tomato soup on that Van Gogh painting about a week ago. I'll go ahead and play the clip in case you don't know what I'm talking about.
This was their big protest here that lit the fire under everyone's ass and immediately made us stop using oil and saved the planet. Now, the painting wasn't injured in this stunt. There was no damage done to the painting or anything like that. And they said they wouldn't have done it if they thought there would be the chance of, ruining the piece. It was behind glass. Their intention with this wasn't to try and get people rallying behind them to start a movement of, throwing food at paintings. Like, gather your kids together and get their Lunchables and go to your nearby museum to throw them at the paintings. God forbid French onion soup into the fray. Lord help us all if that was the case. The main purpose behind this demonstration and all of the other demonstrations is to try and get a conversation started on the deeper meaning behind their protests. But because it's all been so silly and stupid, the only conversation that's been had is roast sessions on them, calling them clowns and just focusing on how outrageous this whole thing they've done is. This was a huge deal that I didn't really bother talking about because I thought it'd be a one and done kind of thing. But since this, they've become very brave and bold and really fighting the good fight out there by throwing mashed potatoes on another famous painting, as well as employing the oldest trick in the book, a timeless classic everyone loves, blocking traffic and crossings. But anyway, Just Stop Oil is an activist group that is doing everything they can to keep their names in the headlines, hoping that through these controversial demonstrations, people will dig a bit deeper into the organization and support them. They're trying to convey a positive message through terrible means. The message is climate change is a serious problem that needs to be taken seriously, and we need to start acting on it. And the first thing that must be done is cutting our reliance on fossil fuels, ending certain licenses regarding oils, and look for more alternatives like renewable energy sources and stuff like that. But their demonstrations obviously aren't directly combating climate change or doing anything to help. Mother Nature isn't healing because some tomato soup got thrown on a painting. At this point, they're not even really seen as climate change activists, they're just seen as cereal soupers. But I guarantee local grocery stores are seeing a massive boom in soup sales, so that's great that they're helping local businesses, I suppose. But I also think it is a bit silly because they've taken a real message, and a message that I, as well as many people, do agree with when it comes to climate change and the importance of it. And they've turned it into a joke, a laughingstock, and turned people against it. It's made even more pathetic by the fact that they come across as massive hypocrites during their own demonstrations because they're wasting food and using cell phones. Those cell phones alone have contributed far more harm to the earth than the paintings that they're vandalizing. So it just doesn't even really seem like they believe their own messages. I feel like they're just doing it for their own personal attention or their own personal feeling of moral superiority. I don't really know, but there was a clip I saw just the other day where during one of their blocking moments where they're blocking traffic, one of them superglues their hand to the road and throws the superglue in the drain right next to them. Fighting the good fight. I'm not 100% certain that this was from a Just Stop Oil protest. This could have been Extinction Rebellion or something else, but even still, all of these similar organizations are now using similar tactics, and I feel like it's all started because of Just Stop Oil. But Just Stop Oil is by far the biggest here at the moment, and it's also the one that has some very weird shit going on with it. For instance, it's backed by an oil heiress. An oil heiress named Eileen Getty has donated a lot of money to this group, and that immediately throws into question the legitimacy behind the organization, because it's an oil heiress. Right? That immediately raises some red flags. Now, I've done a little bit of research on her. Of course, I'm no expert. I don't know her life or anything like that. But from everything I've read, it seems like she's never directly been in the oil business herself. She's been more focused on philanthropy. But again, I'm not 100% sure. So, take all of this with a grain of salt, but she does back Just Stop Oil, and I do think it is a really weird look that an oil heiress is someone that's kind of behind this. I don't know if this is conspiratorial, but I do think there is merit behind the belief that Just Stop Oil is purposely silly and useless with their protests in order to belittle the message behind Just Stop Oil, to try and make people turn against it and only look at climate change as like a joke and equate climate change with soup throwing public protests where they're immediately just going to be laughing about it and just not take it seriously and weaken the message, because all of these protests are dumb. They may be throwing tomato soup on paintings, but the entire public is throwing tomatoes at them, and it just completely takes all of the real
messaging down. It's been doing more harm than good to the cause that they're supposed to be rallying for. And it's also weird that they're not actually targeting anything directly related to what they're protesting against. They're not targeting like oil locations or, higher ups in the oil field or anything like that. They're just sticking with very public things that only affect normal people as opposed to the people in power. The whole thing does feel very fishy. And I've seen a couple of takes from people that support Just Stop Oil about how, it's ridiculous that we care more about art, this old painting, than we do life on Earth and the environment. And I think that's an argument in bad faith because no one's comparing this art to life. Nobody's doing that. No one is saying we care more about this art than the planet. That's just not a conversation that's been being had. The people that are talking about the art more than your message is because they're talking about you throwing fucking soup on it and how silly it is. They're not saying that that art is more important to protect than the planet. You've just done something so outrageous that everyone is now focused on the actual outrageous thing you've done, which happens to involve that art. So I feel like a lot of wires are getting crossed here. And I also see a lot of people saying, well, what else are we supposed to do? How do we get, the higher ups' attention? We've tried everything and nothing's changing. So why don't we do these big public displays? And this perspective I can kind of understand, feeling powerless and just trying to do anything to put the message out there. But why does it have to be something overwhelmingly negative and negatively affecting the people around you? You can absolutely get this message across in a positive way. Let's take, for example, Mr. Beast. I know this isn't exactly the best example, but Mr. Beast built his entire career around doing extremely positive things, and now he's the biggest YouTuber on the planet. And he is an extremely successful person. I believe the Mr. Beast brand is valued at over $1 billion now. And that's through only positive messaging and positive things. You can absolutely get messages across in a positive way. It doesn't always have to be like some kind of, vandalism or spray painting cars and shit like that, blocking people's route to work. Why not try a more positive thing and get people talking about you in a good light? Like, hey, did you see what Just Stop Oil did the other day? They saved 15 kids from a burning orphanage. Man, those are some heroes out there. I wonder what else they're up to. As opposed to, man, I'm 50 fucking minutes late to work because 8 people linked their arms and sat down on the interstate and there was nothing we could do about it. When your entire organization relies on people joining in order for it to be strong, there is a such thing as bad publicity. You don't want people to view you in a shitty way because then you're going to have less people join and support you. So, anyway, that's just me ranting about all of this. I also ranted a bit more about it on stream in relation to the mashed potato incident, so I'll show you some clips of that now real quick. It's really popping off. It's getting the message across really well. I'm sure any day now we'll stop using oil. What is that going to do for them? We've gone over this before when they threw tomato soup on that other painting. We'll go over it again. The idea behind it is get their name in the headlines. Hopefully people will look at the message and be like, all right, I'll support that. That doesn't happen, obviously. All people do is they see the headlines like, wow, bunch of fucking lunatics. I'm going to ignore the message. Terrorist organization. All right, let's not get carried away. Right now, their terror attacks consist of throwing tomato soup and mashed potatoes on paintings, both of which were behind glass, so they didn't actually damage them. They just made themselves look super stupid. I wouldn't necessarily call them terrorists. If they really wanted to do something to, directly try and impact it, I don't know why they wouldn't target the actual oil companies or something. Instead of just blocking the interstate for normal working people, why not block the driveway to one of their houses or some shit? Or block the exit to one of their factories or some shit. Play the video. It's not a very interesting video, but sure, here. It's exactly what you expect. They throw mashed potatoes and then super glue their hands to the wall. Blocking traffic is the worst thing. I don't know if Just Stop Oil blocks traffic. They might. I know it might be Extinction Rebellion that does it, but for some reason, some of these groups block traffic for normal people. So then it's just working people that are significantly late to work because they were blocking traffic to get their message across. Everyone that was late now immediately writes them off and will always go against them 100% of the time. It's just fucking worthless. Oh yeah, they blocked an ambulance once too. I remember that one. That was Extinction Rebellion, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, overall, I just find this whole thing to be a massive miss here, just a fat L for the protests, because the only conversations being had are about how dumb it is, you know, and it's weakening the actual message, which I do think is a good message overall. So it's just doing more harm than good, and it's not doing anything positive or beneficial anywhere. So yeah, just wanted to talk about this a little bit. That's it. See ya. I insult mainstream journalism more often than 50 Cent insults P. Diddy. I am constantly clowning on mainstream journalism. If the clouds are out, you can bet your sweet bippy I'm going outside shaking my fists at them, screaming my opinion of journalism at them. I think that industry has gone in an unforgivable direction. Like, I challenge any one of you to open an article on your phone. It'll be the last mistake you ever make because you'll probably end up throwing yourself down the staircase in frustration because you won't even get the article. You just get inundated with ads. Auto-playing video ads, jump scare sound ads, banner ads all throughout the page covering every single pixel. It's just ads out the wazoo there. They don't even use punctuation anymore, like periods and question marks to finish a sentence off. They just put like an ad there. You get maybe 2 tiddlywinks of information about whatever topic you clicked on, and the rest is just ads. It sucks. Or they just straight up paywall it and you can't read it without giving over a subscription fee. It's downright diabolical. It's tacky and I hate it. It's just an industry that I think is going in the worst possible direction. And another very common practice in mainstream journalism is writing bullshit articles for the sake of drumming up rage, so that way people will click on it to leave like a nasty comment or talk about it or whatever, just to get some rage clicks, even though it's just based on nothing. The 2 biggest culprits of that practice are Kotaku and IGN, for example. Actually, they're probably not even the biggest. There's definitely bigger ones out there, but those are the ones that constantly get, tomatoes tossed at them on Twitter. There's plenty more, but the outlet I want to focus on today is Dexerto, a name I'm sure you've all heard before. It's also a name that gets pronounced 1,000 different ways, so I'm not even sure the correct pronunciation. I've heard some people call it Deserto, like who really knows? Tomato, fucking tomato. Some people pronounce Dexerto like they're casting some type of elvish spell, so it's really all over the place, but I'm sure you know this publication. Their big thing is pushing out as many stories as possible, as quickly as possible, no matter what. Come hell or high water, Dexerto needs to publish something even tangentially related to a streamer or a YouTuber or gaming every 15 minutes on the dot, or else the whole company's gonna blow up. It's like Speed with Keanu Reeves, but instead of going over 80 miles per hour, they need to go over 80 articles per hour, it seems. Because they will write about fucking anything. Like if XQC had a half-brother who had a 3rd grade English teacher who just had a son that opened a lemonade stand in Kansas and sold 3 cups of lemonade, I bet you Dexerto would publish an article about it. And it's been very successful for them as a business model. Oftentimes when a big story breaks, it's the Dexerto articles and headlines that are getting pushed around the most, like they're the center of fucking mosh pit here. Those spread the quickest because they're really a concise breakdown of like the main points, like a bare bones synopsis of whatever the topic is, so it makes it easily digestible and people share those the most. And since they write about everything, they always will be there for the bigger stories. Oftentimes when they do like the smaller niche things like, oh, did Tim the Tat Man leave a Hershey stain in his boxers? Look at his britches at, timestamp hour 22 of his Call of Duty Warzone stream from last night, and they'll write a whole article about it or whatever. Those kind of just wither and die, but they still publish them. But sometimes they don't. So that's what happened yesterday. Dexerto published an article about me. And I use this phrase a lot, but I mean it. This is the truest sense of a nothing burger. They published a story about a video I made where I was just making fun of dogshit TikTok pranksters that harass elderly people. And they wrote about this like it was newsworthy. Moist Critical slams creators harassing the elderly for prank content. And the article is just taking a couple of quotes at random from the video I made about like it being really embarrassing and me just insulting the people behind it. And then it took 2 quotes from 2 random YouTube comments that are like, these guys fucking suck. It's like, why is that an article? This isn't anything noteworthy whatsoever. This isn't some grand, controversial, brave statement or anything where the Dexerto author was shocked, mouth agape. Oh, he did what? No one's ever thought to go after TikTok pranksters. What a pioneer. He's a hero. Like, this is the lowest hanging fruit imaginable. This is me just making fun of some douchebags. Like, it's not deep. It's not at all. There is no reason to have ever put pen to paper to write about this. It's complete. Oh, I don't know why I'm giving so much credit to Dexerto here. This was 100% like a ChatGPT generated article because they were reaching a deadline. They're like, fuck, I got nothing to write about. Let me go ahead and pop this bitch into ChatGPT here. Summarize Moist Critical's harassment elderly TikTok video, and I'll just go ahead and publish an article with all those bullet points in it. Like, this is nothing. It's actually nothing. It is me just making fun of some douchebags. I've done that for a decade. Why is this a news story? But since they portrayed it as something noteworthy, like something that's front page news, they posted it on Twitter and the story popped off. Quote, "It's so fucking embarrassing. Moist Critical calls out prank YouTubers who are harassing elderly people for content." Man, this guy, wow. He took up the sword and did what no one had the courage to do. Call out TikTok pranksters. Is there any lower hanging fruit? It's just a simple video of me clowning on some assholes. Something I have done time and time again and something I will always continue to do because it is fun to do. Not because it's some kind of important, crusade I'm trying to lead. I'm just making fun of them and making jokes about them because it's enjoyable to do. Why is this a story? And that's what a ton of people pointed out too, making fun of me as if it was me making some kind of video essay on why TikTok elderly harassment pranks are bad. When that is not at all what I was doing. I was just making fun of them. Like, that is it. Like, it's about as lowbrow as those 3 farts. Like, my little ass trumpet right there is about how deep that video went. I wasn't making big statements or anything. I was just making fun of them. There was no reason for this to be a news article. And they do this all the time for everybody. Like, here's another one I remember. Moist Critical slams creepy alpha male dating coach charging $3,000 for advice. Again, it's me making fun of some loser. Like, that's it. Like, this isn't a story at all. They're just seemingly picking videos at random and just, giving a brief summary of that video and portraying it as if it's me making some kind of, grand stance here. And when they post it on Twitter, that's what people think I'm doing, which I'm fucking not. I'm not making anything deep about elderly harassment pranksters. Everyone knows they suck. Everyone the people themselves are, shameful little worms, and I know when they have moments of self-reflection, they look in the mirror and they're not happy. Everyone knows that they are objectively worthless losers. I'm not doing anything brave. This isn't news when I make fun of TikTok harassment pranksters or the TikTok love guru who's selling you the 888 get pussy now service for 3,000 clams. That's nothing to write about. I'm on the edge of my seat waiting for their next banger article. Moist Critical makes strong stance against animal abusers. Fucking flames coming off their keyboard as they type about it. Whoa. It's just super dumb. It's really dumb. They've been doing this for actual years, by the way. Some of my favorites include this one about me insulting the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, calling it objectively bad, which it is. That shit blows ass. It is terrible. Boo! Boo! I'll say it a million times. Modern Warfare 3's campaign was unforgivably cringe, worthless trash. Why would that ever need an article, though? Pretty much everyone with eyes agrees with that take. There's nothing to write about there. They're just summarizing my review of the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. What is the point? And speaking of what is the point, here's one they made about me being elated with YouTube streams after I moved away from Twitch. And then right before this one, they made an article saying Moist Critical suffers major YouTube stream issues after Twitch contract ends. These are 2 videos I made. One of them with the major issues was about how I accidentally locked my streams to 720 on YouTube for the first stream, as well as not figuring out how to change the title or put a custom thumbnail or whatever. It was all just in jest, it wasn't a big deal or anything. I was just explaining damn, this is a lot different than I thought it would be. And they wrote a fucking article about it as if it's some kind of big breaking story, and then a month later they're like, wow, Charlie's happy with streaming. Cool. Who gives a fuck? Why are we writing about that? Why would anyone at Dexerto even think that's worth writing about? I am confident that AI plays a huge role in their topics for Dexerto. It's literally just taking random videos and portraying them as a news story. And they just summarize in 2 or 3 paragraphs what the video says at random sometimes. It's fucking stupid. It's a complete waste of time. I could go on and on with so many examples here, but there's no reason to. It'd just be super redundant. You get the point. But I will admit, there have been a couple times where I learned about a topic breaking from Dexerto being one of the first to report it, and since they get shared so often, I saw it from them first before looking into a deeper breakdown from another source. So admittedly, there have been a few times where I did go to Dexerto, get the very basics before looking into the more deeper elements of whatever they were reporting on. So they are kind of helpful in that regard if you're just looking for the breaking stories or to be kept in the know on something big going on. but all like the actual stories they cover are surrounded by these like fluff nonsense about nothing. Like actually nothing. And it's really frustrating. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because the one they posted yesterday with the elderly harassment pranksters actually ruffled my feathers. That one just made me upset that they'd make a fucking article out of that. That one is probably the lowest they've sank for an article. But anyway, that's really about it. So yeah. It's with a heavy heart that I bring you all some sad news about Joe Rogan. I get no pleasure in talking about this, but I think it's important to address. Joe Rogan has done something remarkably silly, if you can believe that. He made a bit of a boo-boo, a mistake, a very public mistake, and one that I am personally involved in. Now I'll go ahead and be upfront and honest out the gate here, because honesty is the best policy, as my old 4th grade teacher used to say, God rest their soul. I don't really listen to Rogan much anymore. It's been quite some time since I watched or listened to a full Rogan episode, but I do still keep up to a certain degree, and recently he made a bit of a blunder on his show. Now, I'm also very familiar with the memes that have floated around about Rogan for at least a couple years now about him being dead. And after this clip, I'm starting to believe in the conspiracy. Maybe Joe Rogan really did pass away a while back and he's been replaced by an AI chat GPT, because I cannot wrap my head around how he even made this mistake. So what happened is, Joe Rogan was talking about a very sad video he watched of a father-son boxing match where the father beat the shit out of his son and people cheered and it made him sick. Hearing that story, of course, does tug on the heartstrings and would probably make most people a little confused and maybe even angry. But the problem is, what Joe Rogan is describing is not the reality of what he watched. What he was talking about is the Creator Clash, which was a YouTuber boxing event, and the match in particular he's referring to is Matt Watson versus Dad. Dad is the YouTuber's online handle. So Joe Rogan watched that and believed it was a real father-son boxing match. And where I get involved is I was literally one of the commentators for this match. So you'd have to actually be watching that with the sound off and very close to passing out from overdosing on Xanax to even for 1 second believe what you were witnessing was a real father-son match.
I saw a video today of a boxing match between a father and a son. It made me so sad. It made me so sad. Because there's this young kid. He looks like he's probably like 17 or 18, and the father's 42. And the father beats the shit out of him. I mean, like, dings him in the head and keeps punching him. I'm like, that's your son. That's your son.
What I find extremely entertaining about this situation is he has an entire team around him, and not a single one bothered to correct him until the very end after he had already made a fool of himself. They're probably just like giggling, listening to him tell this story, just waiting for the moment to drive the knife in to let him know, like, no, you actually got that super fucked up. You got that so twisted, that's not what happened. But this isn't even a matter of Joe Rogan not doing research. This goes a step beyond this. This is a matter of Joe Rogan not even bothering to turn the sound on to the video he's talking about. Because if you unmuted it, you would hear us, the commentators, explaining like the event and the situation and what was going on. So he had to have watched this with the sound off in order to even come close to misunderstanding what was happening. And even then, that's a stretch. You'd also have to be way too high to read, because when they walk out, their subscriber numbers are posted under their name. So like all of the signs and clues are there and drilled into the spectator's head, and somehow it misses Joe entirely, which is just wild to me. And I love that he's wearing like an astronaut spacesuit during this this rant that he goes on here, because it fits the mood beautifully. It's such a wonderful compliment. Now, to be fair to Joe, in his defense, at the end of the clip he mentions that the video title he watched misled him. And in that clip that he references, the original audio is gone and replaced with a guy lying about the whole situation. And I just still don't understand why Joe would just take all of that at face value without just watching the original clip without the voiceover. I feel like he would have done both. Like, after being made aware of the situation, he then would have watched the original. But then maybe I'm putting too much faith in his process. Like, maybe I'm giving too much credit for his researching. Maybe he just watched this YouTuber voiceover that
fed him a lot of misinformation and just instantly believed it without a second thought.
And we're watching you beat your son up, because I get your son probably got cocky with you, and he celebrates after he knocks his son out. It made me so sad. Because first of all, I'm like, that kid has brain damage now, 100%. Maybe it's just a little, maybe he'll be fine, maybe he'll get over it, but maybe you fucked him up. That can happen too. He might be depressed from now on after that. It might fuck up his pituitary gland. It happens to people. And you just did that to your son. You're supposed to like touch him up. You're supposed to not even hurt him. Like slam him in the body a little bit. Like, you think he can fight? Okay, good dude. Okay, let's have a little boxing match. You don't tee off on your son's face on television. It's crazy.
That is crazy, and I really love the fantasy Joe was in for however brief a time that he had just watched a clip from a television broadcast where a father beats the fuck out of their son live in front of an audience as everyone cheers. That is such an amazing, like, visual. And Joe's like, this is madness. What are we, barbarians? What happened to civilization? We're watching fathers beat their son for sport. What's next? Are we going back to the Colosseum? Blood sports? Watching people die? When will the madness end? What's next in this lunacy? It's just so wild that this actually happened.
How old was the kid?
Kid looks young. To me, he looks like, he could be 20. He could be 19. He looks young. He's real skinny. And the father's kind of jacked. Not too jacked, but, he's fit. And he could fucking punch. He knows how to box. And the son doesn't look like he has any idea what the fuck he's doing. I don't know what the thing was. Like, someone sent it to me, and they were, like, cheering that this old guy knocked his son out. I was like, you guys are crazy. That you failed. You failed as a man. Yeah, this is it.
That's not exactly what was happening.
It's not? What is it?
They're not father-son.
Oh, why does it lie? It says father knocks out son in celebrity boxing match.
Gotta get somebody to click on this.
Oh.
This was like a YouTuber thing. This guy's a YouTuber and he's a YouTuber.
I'm such a sucker.
For some reason, this was oddly cute, where he's like, oh, why would they lie? Reminds me of that scene in Arthur about, would someone really do that? Go online and tell lies? Like, Joe is just like so trusting. He's like, oh, I got betrayed. The title misled me. Man, I'm such a sucker. Like, at least he owned up to it. Like, I appreciate that he didn't try and fight and get defensive about it. Now, I went to the video here, and it's only 30 seconds, and it's actually none of the audio from the actual event. It's another man who's just spreading misinformation, saying this was a father-son grudge match. And I guess for some reason, Joe Rogan took all of that at face value. I just find it hard to believe that he only watched that 30-second clip and just believed it. Because Joe Rogan questions fucking everything. So he's just going to a random channel in like 360p because it's been fucking ripped and re-uploaded 1,000 times, so it's in shit quality. And for some reason, Joe Rogan just believed a completely random stranger online telling lies. I'm just still not fully convinced that he just received this random email and just watches everything that gets sent to him. This is a 20,000 view video. Are you telling me Joe Rogan sits there late at night and just goes through his entire email list of every single video sent to him, no matter how small, and just believing every single thing he sees? I don't know. That just doesn't strike me as realistic. But then after this situation, I guess it could be. Who knows? But since we're talking about Joe Rogan, I always like to take an opportunity to bring up his incredible nipples. Those are absolutely legendary. So I'm going to play you a stream clip where we go deep on Joe Rogan's nipples, because I think every time he's mentioned in conversation, it's important that we highlight just how beautiful those puppies are. We all know you love Joe Rogan's long nips. I don't know how many times I need to talk about how great his nipples are. He has the best nipples in the game. Legitimately, no one has a better set of udders than Joe Rogan. And since you brought it up, now I've got to pull up the picture, because I already know there's going to be people in here who haven't seen them. They're fucking incredible. They're actually fucking incredible. Oh, this is this is my tweet too. When you type in Joe Rogan nipples, it's my tweet. That's so fucking amazing. I'm glad. Just look at those. Look at those puppies. Just like two tiny little fingers. I know, this happens every time I bring up Joe Rogan's nipples. It always blows my mind that more people haven't seen these. They're so cool. It casts its own shadow. I've talked about that before too. Joe Rogan's nipples are kind of like the thing Carl Sagan made where he could prove the world was round using like 2 pillars. He talked about that experiment where they like erected 2 pillars, and judging by the shadow they were able to deduce that the world was round. You could do that same experiment on Joe Rogan's nipples. They're like little sundials. Yeah. Like I said, he's got the best pair in the game. Like, not even close. I have never seen nipples that look like Joe's. I didn't even think they could. They're like two tiny little tater tots. Well, tiny's the wrong word. They're anything but tiny. You could attach a car battery to them. Why is your website in a different language? Because for some reason when I googled his nipples, it defaulted to whatever language this is. I don't know why. But it's my tweet that it went to, which is cool. Why do they protrude so much? Has he talked about his condition of his nipples? That's a great question. Has he ever talked about them? I imagine he must have at some point. Like, at least somewhat addressed it. Like, hey, here's what's up with my nipples. I see nothing wrong with them. I think they're glorious. But I don't think you're going to see many of these out there in the world. These are rare. Dude was in a cold bath? Yeah, obviously he was in a cold bath. That doesn't change it. Like, if I'm cold, like let's say I poured ice into a bucket and I just sat in the bucket for like a couple minutes. My nipples would get hard, but they wouldn't look like that. They don't like wumbo your nips. And it also wouldn't just delete his areolas. I don't know where his areolas went, but they were not there anymore. I'm sure all of you have seen at least one of those extreme over-the-top PSA commercials where it delivers its message in the most frightening way imaginable, like it's fucking Michael Bay directing it. So, like, the most popular one I think is the "Be careful with speeding," and it's a car that, like, breaks it out in front of another car and then starts tumbling because it was going so fast, and then it crashes through some bushes into a child's birthday party and just fucking splatters, like, 8 kids, gets, like, a goddamn Kilimanjaro Halo 3 style with, like, just this car blasting through them. It's like, you could have not killed all these kids if you just were going the speed limit. Or another really popular one is workplace safety, and it's this lady who has this giant pot of boiling water, and she's like, I'm about to have a workplace related accident, and then she slips like it's fucking Looney Tunes on a banana peel, slips, throws the boiling water on her face, and lets out a blood curdling screech, and her face is melting like Harvey Dent. It's just fucking putting the fear of God in people with its message. Well, I'm sure we've all seen that, but what if we had that level of extreme nature, but for sadness, and unintentionally? Let me show you the most recent Metaverse commercial that's airing during the Super Bowl, apparently. The Metaverse is just getting sadder and sadder with every advertisement. I've got to mute the music here because of DMCA, but it's Don't You Forget About Me. But let's just imagine they were playing like 2019 Guy or a Boner Jam like that here. Yeah, but full-blown Five Nights at Freddy's security breach style shit here. Imagine thinking this is a good idea to get people excited about the metaverse, to make the most depressing scenario imaginable. This is like an ASPCA commercial, but for cyberspace. I think the audience is supposed to relate to the dog and project their life onto the dog's sad existence here. Like, man, look how happy that dog was. I remember when I was happy too. Singing and dancing, having a hoot and a holler, and then everything just slips away. The melodramatic existence cycle continues. You know, we're just a cog in the wheel of time. The machine keeps turning, life's passing you by, you're down on your luck, falling out of the back of a pickup truck, living on the streets, and then all of a sudden you're caught in a goddamn hydraulic press ready to end it all. I just truly can't wrap my head around this idea at all. Who is this even marketed towards? Emo 18-year-old furries? Like, I don't get the idea here. And the song in the beginning, Don't You Forget About Me, is even more of a tearjerker because it's like Metaverse already knows people are starting to write it off as a joke. So it's like a last-ditch effort. Like, this is very meta of the Metaverse. Like, hey, we know you guys don't really appreciate us and we just took like a 50% nosedive in the stock market, but check out this animatronic dog that's about as depressed as we are. Who's hyped for the Metaverse Quest 2, huh?
Closing time! Get out, please. Stop playing, please. Let's go, folks. Come on.
Hoorah, the day is saved thanks to the metaverse. Some kind stranger just strapped a fucking VR headset to a mascot dog at what I think is a car dealership. I don't even know. Comic-Con or something. I don't really get it. I don't know who would even do that. It's not like a prank or anything. Maybe this dude knew that the machine had a soul. So he's like, here, might as well just lock them in this sarcophagus of the metaverse here. It just makes no fucking sense. Now this poor guy's forever trapped in VR chat, or like the Roblox Meep City, whatever the fuck's going on here in the metaverse. Because he can't take it off. It's not like the dog has any means of getting that headset off, so this is just going to be his tomb. So if it ever runs out of battery, or God forbid a power outage, he's going to be trapped in eternal darkness there. So it's actually a pretty cruel existence. I have to mute the audio again because Don't Forget About Me comes on full blast for its encore. Don't forget about me, more like, please forget that this commercial ever existed. So the takeaway from this advertisement, as I understand it, is the only way to escape the meaningless tedium of existence is to retreat into the metaverse. Hooey! Let's go! Metaverse is here to stay! How exciting! Wow, I mean, if that doesn't make you feel good, I don't know what will. Everything Metaverse is doing is like the worst thing it could be doing in every given situation. Every little bit of detail and information they show or talk about with Metaverse makes it more and more of a joke. It's crazy. It's almost like there's someone on the inside purposely sabotaging at every single step. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. And yeah, I just wanted to share this because this was one of the more confusing ads I've seen. This is up there with like that Coke ad where it's like professional gaming for World of Warcraft PvP, and for some reason instead of finishing the championship battle, they all throw down their axe and drink a Coke instead to be friends. At least that has like a feel-good message. This has nothing. It's like, yep, you're miserable? Might as well go to the metaverse so you can be miserable less. Because you've escaped it now into a fantasy make-believe world. Not exactly like the most optimistic look of the future. That's about it. So yeah. I didn't think it was possible for Netflix to sink any lower than the Resident Evil or live-action Cowboy Bebop show, but somehow they found a way to go even further beyond the Super Saiyan 3 of dog shit. Against all the odds, against science and against God himself, Netflix found a way to dig deeper than the deepest pit of hell to announce a show so foul that even Satan weeps. This isn't satire, it's not April Fools. With a straight face, they announced a live-action Yu Yu Hakusho adaptation. They can't keep getting away with it. This has to be a crime at some point. We have to hold them accountable. They are digging up graves and fucking the corpse right in front of us. This one is extremely painful for me because Yu Yu Hakusho is peak anime to me. This was one of like the big ones for me growing up. I even still own the goddamn Dark Tournament Saga on DVD. I never even opened it because I cherished it so much. So you can imagine how upset I was when I saw the announcement. This news was sadder than the ending to Marley and Me. I felt like I was losing a friend. Or I guess more like I felt like I was watching a friend being held at gunpoint. And they were like trying to ransom, you know, like, hey, subscribe to Netflix or Yu Yu Hakusho gets it. I'm like, no, please let him go. Just a boy, he doesn't deserve it. It doesn't make any sense why they keep doing this. I don't understand. This is like straight out of SpongeBob. How many times do you have to teach you this lesson, old man? All of Netflix adaptations absolutely blow ass. They're all fucking atrocious. It always ends in failure. The live-action Cowboy Bebop, absolute catastrophe. Resident Evil, more like Degrassi meets The Walking Dead meets The Dumpster, because it was fucking trash. They also have a live-action One Piece around the corner, which I can't really opine on since it hasn't come out, but I can't imagine it's going to be successful, and now a live-action Yu Yu Hakusho. Why? When they adapt these shows, excluding One Piece since that hasn't come out yet, so I don't know for sure, but like Cowboy Bebop and Resident Evil, they are just not faithful. Like, they take so much creative liberty that they mutilate the property to something unrecognizable. And they do it proudly.
They don't even bother trying to get the characters or the story or even basic elements of it to translate to the live action. So why adapt it in the first place? What do you accomplish there? All you do is piss off the built-in fan base, and you lose interest from people that don't know the franchise because the production here isn't good enough to stand on its own two legs. You borrowed a name from a popular franchise and did a shitty job of adapting it, so you lose that fan base, and since it's a shitty adaptation, you lose people that don't even know the franchise in the first place because it's just bad. I also don't understand why they keep putting anime in their crosshairs here. I feel like the Netflix higher-ups just peruse their teenage daughters' Tumblr pages to see what's popular and base their future projects off that. Oh, it looks like anime is really killing it. Let's just go through like beloved anime and start ruining it. That should work for us. It just doesn't compute. I can't process the thinking here. Historically, all live-action anime adaptations have been horrible, except for like a few. The one that pops into my head right away is Alita Battle Angel, but that was also a $200 million budget over the course of many years to make that masterpiece, and it absolutely slapped. But I promise you, Netflix isn't committing that big nut-busting budget to the live-action Yu Yu Hakusho. They probably committed like 10 grand in a Walgreens membership. Just looking at the picture here, it just looks like someone did a fun Photoshop project that Netflix slapped their logo on. Now there's no trailer to like fully judge it on, but just the concept alone is awful. Yu Yu Hakusho, the anime and manga for that matter, ended over 20 years ago. Why are we doing this now? They also teased what the core cast is going to look like in live action, so you have Yusuke, Kurama, Kuwabara, and Hiei, and it's not even to like cosplay level. And again, that's just the problem with going live action with an anime. You can't really translate an anime character to human beings because then it just looks goofy and silly and it just doesn't usually work. And you know what else isn't working? Netflix in general. Netflix is actually just dwindling in popularity. It's been hemorrhaging subscribers, making terrible business decisions, and the stock plummeted recently, but it's been recovering a bit. But I think that's solely because of Stranger Things, but now once people finish that, what do they have left? What do they have to watch on Netflix now? Fucking nothing. Actual dust. The majority of Netflix catalog just isn't good. And then the majority of shows that Netflix themselves produce just aren't interesting. They're not fun to watch. You'd have more fun taking the SATs again than watching a Netflix original. They have a couple bangers like Stranger Things, but once you finish Stranger Things, what do you have left? A barren wasteland. Netflix is like the Fallout universe of streaming. Just empty apocalyptic nothingness. And then the occasional glimmer of hope with a show like Stranger Things. With a show like The Punisher. God rest its soul, canceled too early. But like they occasionally have some great shows on there, but it's very few and far between, and I really do think that is contributing heavily to people abandoning it. It's starting to throw it to the side. Of course, a lot of it's just a natural loss of subscribers to the service because so many people signed up during COVID lockdowns, but now that lockdowns are over, those people are just starting to cancel things like Netflix since they're just too busy. But I also think a large contributing factor is just a shit catalog. They don't have classic shows anymore because all of the great shows they used to have got poached by other streaming services, and their originals just aren't strong enough to keep anybody hooked on the service. So people just leave it behind. And I really think Netflix is in a downward trajectory here, and hopefully they figure it out, but this is not a good sign if they just announced live-action Yu Yu Hakusho. It demonstrates a clear lack of understanding of the problem. Nobody wants Netflix adaptations of their favorite properties because they ruin it every time. They bastardize it. They parade it through the streets tarred and feathered. By the time Netflix releases the adaptation, what we get is just an insult, a slap in the face. Nobody is asking for Netflix to take properties and adapt them for a Netflix original. And I don't think there's anyone in the world that wants live-action anime. I don't think there's ever really been a huge community of anime enthusiasts that are like, can't wait for the live-action, this needs the live-action right now. Nobody wants it. Nobody. And yet, for some reason, they keep trying live-action anime. And it looks like they're going to continue to do this till the end of time, until they finally run out of money and scratch their head wondering where it all went wrong. dumping all their budget into a live-action anime adaptation of fucking Gurren Lagann next. You know, it doesn't make sense. And it's upsetting to see that because Netflix is very near and dear to me. Of course, being the first major streaming service that I ever subscribed to. I even got my wiener touched by a girl one time when I was watching VHS horror movies with her. Whatever that series was called. I think it was just called VHS. Netflix used to have all of the goofiest stuff, but also all the best stuff too. Great memories with the platform, and now it's just a shell of what it used to be. There used to be a time not that long ago where pretty much any show you wanted to watch, Netflix would have it. But now, anytime you search for a show like, say, Courage the Cowardly Dog, you'll search it up and it'll say, we know you want Courage, we don't have that shit, that's somewhere else. And you'd be like, okay, so they don't have Courage. And you're scratching your chin like, alright, well, how about Adventure Time? I mean, that was like the most popular cartoon back in the mid-2000s, surely they have that. Type it up. Oh, you wanted Adventure Time? No, you're on Netflix, we don't have that, absolutely not. So you throw your hands up, you're desperate, like, oh, fuck, what do they have? How about Friends? What about Friends? I mean, like, every streaming service in the world has Friends. I imagine it's here. You type it in, nope, not here either. It's just baffling how weak the selection is on Netflix. And they also greenlight the most awful ideas ever, like Cuties. Jesus Christ. Like, they actually put on the worst ideas imaginable and put money behind it as a Netflix original. And there is no better example of that than Cuties, which honestly should have had Netflix thoroughly investigated for that shit. Absolutely disgusting. Netflix is just making all of the worst decisions over the last couple years or so, and it doesn't seem like they're getting it at all. Netflix originals are still synonymous with garbage, and they keep raising like the subscription prices, trying to crack down on password sharing, and then they recently sacked their entire animation department. Oh, we're losing money. Probably those fucking animators' fault. For no reason. Like, they don't understand. And it's fucking upsetting. And now they're taking a property that I love, Yu Yu Hakusho, and most likely are going to ruin it. If this show ends up being good, I will be beyond surprised. I will be beyond shocked if this show is even somewhat redeemable, even somewhat enjoyable. I would be elated, honestly. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about this, and that's about it. See ya. I'm about to scare every mainstream media outlet with one single word. Gamer. That word is the boogeyman to so many outlets. Gaming is a hobby that's been put in the crosshairs of mainstream media for decades now. They treat gaming like the devil, the root of all evil. It takes the blame for everything that goes wrong. If anything bad happens in the world, mainstream media does their absolute best to tie it into gaming in some way. If some guy commits some atrocities, they'll bring up like his Steam account and be like, well, we saw all the signs there because he once played Sims 3, so we knew that this was inevitable. This has been a trend that's been going on for a long, long time and shows no signs of slowing down. In fact, it's only speeding up. They're putting more coals in this train and they're driving it right off the fucking tracks here. They're going super hard on attacking gaming for everything that goes wrong in the world. And recently a YouTuber named The Act Man made a great journey through time looking at some of mainstream media's finest pieces on gaming. So I just wanted to share some of their highlight montage here with their best takes in gaming. I'll put a link to Actman's video in the description so that way you can see all of the stories, because, wow, they're really something special. Oh, will gaming kill you? I imagine this is going to be talking about this recent fascination with obsession and blaming the subjects of obsession as opposed to the actual underlying cause of the addiction. That would be my guess. There's this recent trend, and it's not just gaming, where things that become a subject of addiction, which is literally anything, food, porn, games, any of it, instead of like talking about addiction itself, it's about these things should be banned because people get addicted to it. It's so weird. We've regressed so fucking much.
Over the years, is Fortnite too addictive? How many games put your kids at risk of pedophiles? There's a lot of fun questions for us to answer.
Now, when I
the answer is Roblox.
My investigation,
your odds of encountering a pedophile in a video game are exponentially higher on Roblox than anything else. That shit seems like almost commonplace with how often that happens there.
across the country, and kids have no say as to what some of these characters say to them. For example, this character could be the man in California police are warning about tonight that asked for images from Missouri children.
Wait, whoa, Tortimer, you bastard. I thought it was weird in Animal Crossing he kept asking for pictures of my nutsack. God damn it! Did we finally catch him? Is he behind bars? In a supermax cell? Son of a bitch! He infiltrated the cyberspace.
Could be. It could be or it could be the fucking goose on the left. Could also.
He could be anywhere.
And kids have no say as to what some of these characters might say to them. For example, this could be the man police are warning about tonight who asked for pictures from Cyrodiil children.
I cannot come up with any legitimate reason that an adult would be playing that particular game.
No reason for an adult to play Animal Crossing. Only bad reasons.
Well, you know what? That's where Sheriff Popeye and I are going to have to agree. I can't think of a single reason any adult would be playing Animal Crossing, especially when better games exist, like Fortnite. Yeah. He's actually making good points now.
Crime alert. We abuse.
Anderson says it is going to take parents paying attention to keep this problem from exploding.
Oh, you don't say. Having parents pay attention to their children and what they're doing. How dare you even suggest parenting in the modern age? You absolute harlot. You're telling people to be parents? No. That makes no sense. Just give them an iPad and unlimited access to everything online and then get mad when they find something they're not supposed to find. That's parenting. That's real parenting.
When really all it comes back to is just parents knowing what the fuck their kids are doing.
Now, right now, we know that only 3 children have been reported as being involved in this. Anderson says this is not a reason to be paranoid, but is something to be aware of.
While it's not a reason to be paranoid, we are
involved
still
in
going
what?
to produce a new...
Involved in sending photographs to Tortimer in Animal Crossing? Is Tortimer not just an NPC? I'm pretty sure it is. Who are they sending it to? Nintendo headquarters? What are they involved in? I need to look up Tortimer. Is he in jail? That slimy son of a bitch. Tortimer is an elderly tortoise. He's a fucking NPC. He's the mayor in the town the player moves to. Who the fuck? What are they involved in?
Is going to redefine portable handheld gaming the way iPod is redefining music.
Well, stop the music, because it's also redefining how vulnerable your kids are to child molesters.
God! How? Explain to me how you arrived at this point.
What do you mean? We just watched about how Tortimer from Animal Crossing was soliciting nude photos of minors through Animal Crossing. Are you not paying any attention at all, Act Man? He's in the mainframe. He's in their hands right now.
Nintendo DS comes with a feature called PictoChat.
PictoChat? PictoChat?
Well, let me explain. You open the DS
Oh, he
unit,
actually takes a dick pic on cam?
You push PictoChat, and your DS unit is an open book.
Oh my goodness. Then there's no safeguards in place in order to stop you from sending a nude photo of yourself. And he just pulls down his pants and actually goatsies. And look what I've done with PictoChat. Now I will fall victim to a bad actor on the DS.
Here's an example of what can happen. With Melanie and Marissa upstairs in the bedroom, I was downstairs sending them messages.
PictoChat. Oh, I don't know shit about it. PictoChat only works within 100 feet. You just gave me a crazy idea for a horror movie that I don't know if it exists or not. Imagine you and your family, you're out, in the middle of nowhere. This cabin in the woods, it's an escape retreat. Very cliche, very tropey. But your kid's got the PictoChat. And he's you're sending dick pics, or, sorry. You're sending the drawn penises to your siblings, you're giggling about it, and then all of a sudden, a new PictoChat player pops up within 100 feet. He's in the radius. He's in the house. And then it's a game of cat and mouse. They have to use PictoChat to track down the pedophile, the killer. That'd be hype. That'd be a movie.
What's your dog's name? What's your name? Where do you go to school? Where do you live?
You fucking creep. Where do you live?
What are you buying? Where do you live?
In this house that I'm messaging you in?
Marissa's mom was watching as Melanie and Marissa answered my questions, and she didn't like what she saw.
Melanie reading the address.
Lester?
Wait, it's the news anchor downstairs. Your kids know he's there. There's cameras in their face. What do you mean you don't like what they saw? He's fucking on your staircase right now. What are you talking about? This is weird. The news anchor's wondering where I live, but he's literally sitting on my staircase. I mean, maybe he has like some kind of memory issue. Okay, I mean, I'll send it.
Granted, the girls knew it was me sending the messages, but they'd only met me minutes before.
And I could have been a child molester.
And remember Marissa chatting with her friend in the other car? That means a molester driving along could see your child in the back seat and start sending messages while you're in the front seat, totally oblivious to what's happening.
Holy shit!
God. Who the fuck is driving and like trying to join PictoChat lobbies? The logistics of that alone make my head spin.
Well, a Colorado family...
That's amazing. What the fuck? Imagine a drive-by pedophile. He's got like 6 PictoChats open for maximum potential to infiltrate nearby car PictoChats. Holy shit.
A DS with porn on it. So not only did this kid experience some traumatic shit, but he probably hates Santa now.
His father first called GameStop where he
that fucking pervert old St. Nicholas, damn you. Damn you.
And they weren't caught.
It's full of some real-life dangers.
He said, "Excuse me, House Slayer, can I speak to you for a moment?"
That does sound dangerous. Don't answer him.
God,
Don't answer him.
Like 9-year-old kid.
He's gonna have you train rune crafting.
His name is Hellslayer.
In just minutes, Timmy's password was hacked, stolen. His account with all these points and belongings emptied.
What is that? What up there is for 12 mil? I can't even read the item. Yeah, he fell for the old Jagex blocks your password. That's a really old scam. That one actually got a few people I knew. Is it Bando's chest plate? It might be. You might be right. Yeah, that scam was you'd go into like, I don't know, any bank really. It was pretty big in Sears Village. You go into Sears Village, you spam Jagex blocks your password when you type it, watch this, and then you just hit like 8 stars, and dumb fucking milk drinking kids would be like, oh, that's interesting. They type their password and it doesn't block it, and they're like, ah. That's what Hellslayer fell victim to for sure.
So you can see right here, I'm getting ready to serve.
Where do the pedophiles infiltrate the tennis court?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Christ.
The tennis racket.
Oh my god. Seeing all my buddies playing Pokemon and like my mom is the only one that's like, nope, you can't. It's dangerous. Violent.
Because the message is violence.
Oh, this isn't actually Satanic Panic? That was, I don't know if he's going to cover that one. Satanic Panic for Pokemon was such a big one. Actually still kind of exists to this day. There is a big Facebook group about like how Pokemon is actually like devil worship because they're using energy. And energy is a force that's only meant for God to control. So like that was big back in the day.
Fights, and the constant trading is not only distracting kids from classwork, but turning the playground into a black market.
Hey, Timmy.
What do you mean a black market? It's just trading.
Give you a Blastoise for your lunch money.
I feel like... Is it a movement? Is it a craze? Is it a state of being?
It's a craze for little kids to enjoy themselves with. Adults are not going to get into this a lot. I think through the holidays...
Whoa! Wow, that's... Ooh, you didn't really have the... future sight prowess on that one. It is largely adults at the moment. Well, you're a little off the mark on that prediction, but everything else was right.
PSPs are good, clean fun, right?
Yeah.
So why are they also known by the name PlayStation Pornable?
Oh, that's kind of hype. Actually, I do remember that. I do actually remember. There was a time where porn was kind of big on the PSP. Because it was one of the few times where you could just have like actual internet access on your like handheld device, so you could actually just watch porn. I do remember that.
We don't want to
It means you might not take iron crosses all over a website as a warning sign that you should immediately leave. And if you don't leave, you might start reading and buying into hateful ideas there.
The greatest danger of all may be a child predator posing as another gamer.
No, boy.
One of these, man, it's all.
That's always so scary. Like you never know who you're gonna run into around Varrock. That's something I often think about when I'm grinding Slayer and I have to go back to the Grand Exchange. I'm like, Jesus Christ, any one of these guys could be a pedophile.
And that's the stress of being a gamer, honestly. Don't let anyone tell you gamers have it easy.
So that's the first thing. The damage is this. We know that all the research shows that violence has a desensitizing effect. Well, sexuality does too.
No, it doesn't.
These objects of desire as these, hot bodies. I mean, they don't show women as being valued for anything other than their sexuality. And it's a man in this game deciding how many women he wants to be with.
First of all, you
Jeff!
can play as a man or a woman in the game. Cooper, have you ever played Mass Effect?
No.
That's it. That's all.
Jeff Keighley is a fucking saint. I love Jeff Keighley. God, that's just so hard. I love that. So everything you're talking about, you've played and experienced it? Absolutely not, Jeff. Ah. Okay then.
It's just like modeling your life, and I think that's a much more powerful form of media.
Darlin, I gotta go with the research. And the research says, there's a new study out of University of Maryland right now that says that boys that play video games cannot tell the difference between what they're seeing in a video game and the real world.
Whoa, what a claim! Who did they take the research from? Who was their test subjects? They can't tell the difference between a video game and real life, huh? Also, love the condescending tone, calling him darling. What an insufferable little asshole. Let's see, the University of Maryland. Well, University of Maryland. The potential for video games to improve mental health. Is that what you were quoting? University of Maryland. Video gaming may be associated with better cognitive function. Which one of these were you quoting here? Do you expect these people to actually read? No, not really. But isn't she like a psychologist? Isn't that why they brought her on? And I'm assuming she was trying to quote a real study, or I guess she truly just made it up from absolutely fucking nothing. Because I am finding nothing on that particular topic. But maybe I'm just not using the correct terms here to find it. Though even still, that seems like such a crazy study conclusion. People can't tell the difference between a video game and the real world. You would that is a crazy fucking claim to make. I don't know where the fuck this came from. But she apparently has a PhD in psychology and has published 7 books. And in 2008, she apologized for it. She just fully admits to knowing nothing about it. Yeah, at least she owned up to it. She didn't try and double down on it again. I guess that's good.
It's the highest rating that it can have. So first of all, this board that rates them needs to have their head examined. And this made me feel old watching this. What happened to Atari and Pinball and Pac-Man?
God, you are old. You are so old.
Why is technology advancing? What happened to the good old days of Betamax? Why do we have streaming music? What happened to the good old days of tube television and black and white TVs? This is stupid. Is it fucking stupid? Why are things advancing? Why can't they stay archaic?
She accidentally stumbled into a strip club on Roblox.
And that's where we're going to call it a day.
That one, Roblox is actually dangerous, though. The amount of fucking pedophiles that have been caught from Roblox, actual pedophiles that have preyed on kids from Roblox is fucking actually astonishing. So, you know what? If they're going to run a story about, hey, maybe monitor your kids on Roblox, I'll be like, you know what? That's fair. Yeah, that's fine. I actually agree.
Reporting live from ACT News, this has been the Act Reporter.
Good shit.
Signing out.
I hadn't seen any of those stories. Way to find some gold. Good shit, Act Man. I had legitimately never seen any of those stories. I remembered a couple of the controversies, but I never actually saw the segments. Why do people keep blasting video games when they should blast other stuff? Where have you been? They blast everything. Literally everything. I saw a big Twitter thread about why it should be really frowned upon to ask your friends to help you move. Everything gets blasted. Literally anything and everything is a problem. I don't know where you're getting why it's just games. It's everything. People make up shit to get upset about. That's just Twitter. Yeah, but Twitter is like everyone now. I used to think it's just Twitter, but Twitter is so big, everyone has an account pretty much, so those people exist in the real world. Like, it's no longer just these, like, isolated cryptids that use it. It's like actual people. Wait, that thing about helping friends move, that was a study? What? No, fuck, no. Literally nothing people get mad about on Twitter is anything like a scientifically backed statement or anything. It was this lady melting down about, like, people who ask their friends to help them move. She called it, like, childish. Like, you need to do it yourself. Pick yourself up by your own fucking bootstraps. Move yourself. Don't inconvenience your friends or some shit. It was so dumb. It was so fucking dumb.